Hey, welcome to Tactical Tuesday. This is the starter kit forum or essential group of guys that gets together, analyzes game plans, analyzes players' plans, analyzes the rules on how they apply to the game plans, and then we also field questions, and then we also look at game of the months. Everyone plays game of the month. We go over all the games and we learn from each other. That's what Tactical Tuesday is all about. Learning from each other, learning from the games, and applying what rules we know. It's application of the rules. None of this is going to be in the rule book. All the rules are simply in your rule book. Highlight them and go on with this. What we're not about is teaching the basics of starter kit. We're not going to teach you what range is. We're not going to teach you what your morale level number might be. We're not going to teach you how to use Vassal. None of that is the realm of Tactical Tuesday. That's what you should know already as a player. If you don't know any of that stuff, please read the rulebook. It's quite explanatory. Tactical Tuesday is for even beginner players that may or may not have played other people, but here to decipher and answer questions they might have about the rulebook, about what they've read. So that's what we're all about, taking your game to the next level after you've done your homework, and then hopefully you'll enjoy your SK games much more. Thanks, and let's get on with Tactical Tuesday. First of all, questions and clarifications for last week. Does anyone have it? Let me throw a clarification out there. I was listening to the discussion last week because I drive around a week, so I have an ability to re-listen to the podcast that I put out there and how I screw things up all the time. The SN number, the Stuggewerfer or Nationality on the German tank can only be used in close combat and melee, just like you guys were saying that I was kind of trying to ignore. But I didn't know the rule. So there is no +1 when you're CE in the vehicle. So if you use the SN number and if you're CE, like if you have an AA gun for the Tiger, you cannot use your SN number. Okay, you can't attack with your SN because it's exploded. Everything blows up. So you have to be buttoned up. And oh yeah, remember how I said read your vehicle notes and ordnance? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's SN is not in your vehicle and ordnance notes for whatever reason. Your M value is, and of course M&P goes cheap on the color because they don't add color on the vehicle. So, but the M number is looked at. Let's see, where is the Tiger? Yeah, the secondary armament M was a number of mine dischargers, so on and so forth, just like the SN, but with 12 firepower. Well, then you go down to the next Tiger tank, which has the SN, and lo and behold, it has no notes for it. So it took me about 10 minutes to find it in the rules. And
I guess they decided they covered it in the rules, so they didn't need to worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Costs, cut costs, shit like that.
Yeah.
So in the rules, gentlemen, again, I just highlighted it, and I still have to thumb through it and find the damn thing. First of all, another thing is it's not listed in the glossary. Which might be a nice place to put it. And God, I'm trying to find it. I still have to look it up. All right. We are in SK3 rulebook, page 18, in case you guys have an electronic format. Upper right, actually page 17, bottom right, page 18, top left. It's a giant yellow column right there. It's on the bottom. It starts talking very at the bottom, beginning in July 44, last 3 lines. It talks about the Navigationungswaffe. So, and then on the next page, it goes up in the next top right column and tells you how to use it. So, again, organizational people, that shit should be in your vehicle notes. Sure, if it's there, I mean, whatever, but at least it should say SN has a value of 16 in the vehicle notes, just like the M value has. And it doesn't even reference M value here. So that's a byproduct of the SK stuff, but it does have all the rules in that little 5 or 6 lines. Got to be buttoned up, 16 firepower. Has to be in CC or melee. Now, how do you have CC? We'll get to that in a second. And does not add +1 for being buttoned up. And no terrain effect modifiers apply. So if you are in a building, if you're in a stone building and that Tiger comes plowing through that wall and it's close combat phase, and he unleashes the beast. You know, press the trigger, drops grenades. It's 16 no mods. 16 no mods, so you are not safe in any terrain. So it doesn't matter whether you're in open ground or a building or, you know, in a bunker. Well, I guess you can't be in a bunker, but like, you know, whatever, any other defensible terrain. In SK, at least, no TEM or hindrances. So you could be in a stone building, +3 smoke, and 0 modifiers. Boom, 16-0. So it's pretty disastrous. But we will cover that. Well, I think, pretty much we just covered that. We will cover that more, and we will cover light anti-tank weapons. Close combat versus a vehicle. How do we kill the damn vehicles? We know how to kill them with ordnance. How do we kill them with our little toys that we have? Okay, that's why I pulled out a whole shitload of toys here. I want to think this is all inclusive, but I might be wrong. So let me switch over to that.
Pretty good equipment sampler.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. This is like who's the chocolate sampler? It's like, you know, boom. You know, I want the I want the caramel. I want the see. I don't even know. There's a box of it on our counter, and I don't even know what the hell. So we know how guns destroy them, right? You look up the kill value, this, that, and the other. Now these, I think these are everything that I could find in the starter kit rules. If there's something missing, let me know, and we'll cover it. But each one of these has its own little bizarre set of rules to go over to kill a vehicle. All right. Now I think we only have the Bazooka 44, but I put in the Bazooka 43 and 45 just for shits and giggles to show you that the slight variation in models. Essentially, your 43 is a 13 to kill. Its range might be the same. 44 is 16 to kill. 45 is also 16 to kill, but it has white phosphorus, and it has a range of 5. So I just want to show you guys though. I'm gonna put these off to the side just to kind of show you the other vehicles. I think those are just in the mix, so I just pulled them. So we have let's have an array of tanks here, and I gotta pull another tank. I gotta pull another vehicle. All right, so this is pretty much our array of anti-tank weapons. So we are going to go through how each one of these weapons either hits, destroys, or otherwise affects a vehicle, because you'll have these in your games and you have to be aware of their capabilities to best maximize them against what you're going to be up against. Some of these may think like, oh, it's impossible to do anything. Other things may say, oh, that's a one shot, one kill, which you'll find out in a second. And then others can be used against infantry, and can be used against infantry in a limited role, and others can be used against infantry in a much less limited role. So Panzerfaust has got a giant column on the left-hand side on page 20 of the SK3 rulebook. I expect you guys to read through that if you haven't already. Panzerfausts are where you get tricked. So if you're like me and you like to play in the Allies a lot, you don't play the Germans, and then you switch between scenarios. So you go from early war, late war, whatever, and you're playing the Germans early war. They don't have any Panzerfaust, and you play late war, and then all of a sudden you drive up next to a tank, drive up next to an infantry unit, and the guy says, "Okay, we can check for Panzerfaust," and he blows your tank up. You feel like an idiot because you forgot they had Panzerfaust. You know, normally there are no counters for Panzerfaust typically, and if you look at the counter, it's got only a 31 to kill. So you don't want to make that mistake twice, and that's the best way to learn, is to get half your Shermans smoked in one turn, and then you won't ever do that again. And also the Panzer Schreck, if you see the difference between the Panzer Schreck and the Bazooka, pretty much the same type of item. About this, I think they're exact same to hit table. The to hit table on the Panzer Schreck and the Bazooka is pretty much exactly the same. Yep, exactly the same. And but the to kill is different on both of them. The Panzer Schreck is 10 better to kill. So the Panzer Schreck is a much better anti-tank weapon versus the Bazooka. Matter of fact, we'll put these guys over here together. These guys are all kind of the same thing. So let's go with the there's a whole bunch of different things to go for. Another thing that just kind of jump out in the front. So when you are, if you're going to get attacked, motion 3.321, and I just want to go over this once again because of the value of the rule. Motion status attempt. I'm just going to read the rules so we all can kind of go through it. A motion status attempt may be made during the movement phase of an enemy ground unit by any defending mobile vehicle. The AFV must make a die roll less than or equal to the number of MF/MP expended by the enemy while in the line of sight of the AFV making the attempt. The enemy must not have been in the LOS at the beginning of that player turn. So if he starts in your LOS, gets out of your LOS, and goes back in, you're screwed. You may only make a motion attempt once per enemy movement phase and may not make the attempt at all if marked with a first fire marker. So if you fired on somebody, which you can do, right? If you want to surround this tiger, right? You got a couple Shermans. Let me just clone these guys. Boom, boom, right? You got a couple Shermans over here. Let's arrange their all this crap in front of me. Oh no, I don't want to do that. Okay, you got a bunch of Shermans looking to take on this tiger. We don't care about the TCA. How about? Okay, let's say this tank moves forward, right? And he fires on the tank and blows it up. Boom. You know, surprise, surprise. This tank then spins around the corner, goes around here, comes this way, gets on his ass. This guy comes over there, gets on this side. He may not be, oops, first fire. Assuming he doesn't get ready to fire, which is a big thing. If he gets ready to fire, you're screwed. If he first fires, he may not motion. What can he do, though, against you?
He can fire one of his machine guns at you to face your face to get your front target facing.
Right. So he fires the bow machine gun at this guy. Not going to do anything, but it gets his front facing towards him if he moved first. And then this guy fires, this guy moves after, then let's say he takes a shot at him and misses. This guy comes from this direction, moves over here, then he could fire his coaxial, he could spin again, fires coaxial. If he didn't blow this tank up, or didn't blow one or both of those tanks up, he's going to be in a world of hurt next turn, right? So what it does, it disallows him that motion attempt. So when you move up to him point blank and stop, so you can get your point blank modifier to apply, because if you are moving and you are adjacent or 1 hex away, the point blank modifier does not apply if either you or he is in motion or moving. Okay, you have to be, or not stopped. You have to be a stopped vehicle. So he stopped, you're stopped, modifier applies. If you're moving and he stopped, doesn't apply. If you're stopped and he's in motion, doesn't apply. Stop is the only time when the point blank applies. So if that's what you're going for, you can get the point blank shot on this guy, you know, for like next turn. So now, and then let's say nobody destroys each other, and then movement phase German turn 2 comes up, right? And this unit was stopped because he lost his ability to go into motion. He starts his vehicle. Okay. Do the Shermans have point blank capability on this unit?
Yes, they do, because he is not considered a moving target yet.
There you go. Why is that, Mark?
Because he has not entered a new hex yet.
Not entered a new hex, which is extremely important. Let's back that up, okay? Not entered a new hex in his movement phase, okay, gentlemen? So let's back that up. Go back to square one, and I can't do anything with this tank. We're going to clone another one. Let's back that up to show you the importance of getting this guy first fired. Roll up here. Let's see, you got some shit tank or extra tanks you got nothing to do with, or you hate moving tanks, so it's like, you know, I'm just kind of blow up because I'm tired of moving tanks all day. He first fires on him, blows him up, right? You know, we'll go back to square one. Boom. Got our beautiful tank here. Blows him up. He moves over here. He moves over here. Let's see, he got ready to fire. Now he says, oh shit, I didn't care about this guy. And for some reason, I didn't want to do anything, but this guy goes here, then here, then here. Oops, sorry. Let me do it a little bit better. My bad. Here, here, and here. Okay. So when would you want to try attempt motion? Let's exclude this guy. Let's say you didn't. Let's say this guy hasn't moved yet. Just for shits and giggles. So you're like this. So you go boom, boom. So if you say I want to go into motion, what do you need to roll when the Sherman starts to roll up on you right here?
You're going to need a 1.
Why a 1? How do we find the 1?
You do line of sight checks, and the first hex in which you do have line of sight, that the number of it looks like maybe he does have line of sight.
Yeah, I didn't know that either, but yeah, okay. So this is again, this is what you say, Mark. Yeah, line of sight check, boom.
Yep. So you certainly know where he started on the hill. You don't have a line of sight.
Right.
So he has line of sight in G10. So that would be 1 MP there. Then he moves into AA10. That'd be 2 MP there. And you have to roll less than or equal to the number of MPs expended in his line of sight in order to go into motion.
So we roll a 1 so we can put a motion on him. If we rolled MarkBot 6.0 6, he can't go into motion. And then this guy goes here, stops, let's say, oh shit, I didn't want to go there because I'm afraid I'm just go out of line of sight. And then this guy here, or he continues on. Maybe he baited the motion shot. Whatever. Let's just say he goes on. This guy comes around a corner. Can we see him here?
Yes.
Okay.
Looks like it. Yep.
How many movement points?
Looks like 2.
Okay, let me move that tank. 3. 4. And let's just say I'm going to pivot 5, and then stop for 6. Can the German go into motion?
Unfortunately, since he has made a motion attempt previously, he may not make a motion attempt again.
He may not make a motion attempt again.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, you figured ASL will have a counter for I attempted motion and screwed it up, but
there is.
Really?
Yeah, they added in all of the new inherent first fire SW counters. They also added a smoke attempt and a motion attempt counter in that set. Yeah.
Okay. It's going to take me an hour to find it, but anyway.
Where it may be in the I'm just talking the official MMP counter set. I'm not.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably.
I don't know if Vassal.
It's probably there somewhere. So I just want to point that out, that if you try to make a motion attempt and fail, no more motion attempts for you at all. At that point, then it's almost like he had first fired, right? So it's like he's first fired, so he essentially can't do a motion attempt again. So, and that's important because then you could roll up another tank, which might be your tank that could destroy him. And let's say this tank was just going to fly by, right? Just fly by him, and he might want to try and steal a motion attempt off that tank. Whereas this tank, let's say he had a bigger gun. Let's say it's a big. Yeah, there you go, boom. Let's say he has a much bigger gun, can kill it easier or whatever. Maybe have a higher rate of fire, but he has to stay in the LOS for 4 movement points, or at least 5 if he wants to stop. Then pretty much the Tiger, if he has the ability to go in motion, is almost guaranteed. So you might want to either bait it out by blowing up a tank if you don't care about the tank, or maybe it's main armament mouthed or whatever, or try to bait out another one. Maybe 2 MPs in LOS, because maybe he doesn't know where you're going. Maybe you're like right here, and you go here. 3 of it's 50-50 shot, and just kind of reiterate that once you fail, that you're done. Now, when you go into motion, what does that give you the ability to do?
You can change your TCA.
And?
VCA.
And VCA.
Yeah,
yes.
Right, you could do whatever you want. Let's say,
yeah.
You can, you got your motion status, you can go, I know the guy's going to come from behind me over here, or maybe I want to just keep my front towards that guy, but this guy over here I want to blast for whatever reason. And I just want to keep my front ass to him because maybe he's the most slow-moving tank, or maybe he's over here and he can only get to like right here on 14 or 13. So I want to keep at least my hull towards him and at least my turret towards this guy. It's kind of like hedging your bets. So it depends on whatever you want to do. Again, that's your game decision. I have no problem with what you guys want to do with that. You'll have your own reasons, but you can do that. Once you go into motion, let me get the motion counter so we don't get all screwed up here. I don't even know where the hell it is. There it is. This just to show you how often I use motion. There it is. So when you do go in motion, you may swivel your tank whatever direction and the turret whatever direction you want. Can you go CE or button up in the same instance?
No.
You can do one or the other in the movement phase, but that's it.
Correct.
In your movement phase, right?
Correct.
Or your advanced phase.
Correct. So I just want to point that out. You would think that he'd be able to do something like that. It seems logical that you could, hey, I'm spinning my tank around, my guy's getting active, I'm gonna pop my lid open or close it because I see bad guys moving. No button up or CE status change is possible. Only turrets and VCA. Okay, your CE status is locked in, so it's kind of like a small window you have. If you prep fire, you're going to be stuck in that status, whether it be button up or CE, until the advanced phase in which you could switch it the other direction. Okay, very important. Motion status intent. Please read that section again. Very small paragraph. Very, very important in the game, guys. Very, very important. The same concept of shooting your armaments to face your vehicle, to have yourself a fortuitous frontal armor against the guy. The same concept. Getting those concepts down will keep your tanks alive longer than normal. Okay? So let's say your 50's over here, right, and he doesn't see it, and you don't give a shit about this guy over here, and you just want to swivel your tank over here, and maybe this guy says, okay, I got him now, and then your 50 opens up and shoots him right in the rear. You know, there's all different things you can do to screw with your opponent's head. 3 rate of fire, that's going to have a lot. It's going to, hopefully he'll be able to pop him. But, you know, you get what kind of I'm getting at. Motion status and turning your vehicle during the opponent. Now, can I do that same thing? Let's say my tanks are here. All right. So he's in the building. Let's say I got an infantry unit over here, right? Get that motion status off. Let's go. Let's say we got the turret pointing over here. And this infantry comes up here. 1, 2, 3. Can we do the same thing? Can we do a motion status attempt versus this unit?
No, I think you can only do it against vehicles.
You sure?
I'll check the rules on that. Good question.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can.
Yeah,
Units,
it's
right?
just an enemy unit. You just have to be mobile. So he expended 2. So what will we need to do to go in motion? Let's say some of a bitch has a bazooka or some shit.
Yeah, it does say movement factor or movement point expenditure.
Oh,
So yeah,
Okay. Well, that's new for me. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, normally you want to go versus tanks, right? Because tanks, have the obvious firepower. They're probably going to rush you. Normally the infantry, you're just going to spin and fire with your machine guns and blast him, right? He's vulnerable to machine gun fire. So again, that's kind of why I want to point that out, that even with infantry, you can go in motion status. So like if he had a bazooka, let's say he's right over here, so he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, or, you know, now you need a D4 because he's going to fire the advanced fire phase. And what does he need to hit in the event? Well, then he'll hit. We'll go over the bazooka here in a second. But so he'll get the chance to fire in the advanced fire phase, but if you succeed, you'll be considered in motion +2, which makes it much harder for this thing to hit. And the same thing, more importantly, the Allies need to do that versus the German infantry. Why?
Panzerfaust.
Panzerfaust. They all have anti-tank capabilities. So you got an infantry unit moving up here. You got a guy moving up here. You got a guy. If these guys move up like this, you probably be better off going in motion. I mean, you could possibly break them, but if you have to turn to face this guy, you know, it's going to be a +1. I mean, you might want to do that, but if you go into motion, you could still turn. If you go into motion, you could still turn that direction and fire. It's just going to be half firepower, right? Because you're in motion.
Right.
But it's going to be half and point blank, so we can go 2. You know, it's going to be a +3 because you're swiveling your. No, you're not firing. You're just in motion, so that should be half firepower, right?
Wait, what did you say? So you change. So you change. So yeah, well, I mean, when you go into motion, yeah. I mean, unless you changed your vehicle covered arc or turret covered arc, I don't know whether that. And then
I don't think that applies, because when you go into motion, you may freely change them. And so you're just half firepower. So at that point, you're going to be in motion, but it's going to be half firepower against these guys. I don't think that the change matters.
You have to pay for the change.
I don't think you do, because you're not necessarily firing, because you it's not like you're stopped and I'm going to pivot and fire as being non-stopped. You're just going into motion, and the motion has its own penalties applied to that.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, I don't think I've kind of had that situation. Usually, once you're in motion, I mean, with the machine guns, good question.
Because you get the free. It says free TCA and VCA change. You are required to pay terrain restrictions, which means if you are if you have stall possibilities, or if you're in a woods, if you go into motion here, right, and you want to swivel, what's going to happen? What do you need to do? If you go in motion to woods and you change your vehicle covered arc,
you have to take a bog check.
Bog check for each hex side.
Right. Yep.
Okay. So be careful with that. Although I'm not sure if you guys drive your tanks into trees, but that's another plus thing. So if you do that in the woods, or if you're building, and if I want to fire on this unit offensively, what would I have? What are the modifiers just by his condition by himself? What are the modifiers just for the tank and whatever? So it's +2 for motion and +2 for the TEM, right? So he's +4.
Mm-hmm.
So even a tank, let's say, like right here, let's say an enemy tank rolls up on him and he goes in motion for whatever reason. Now it's +4 to hit. If I'm buttoned up, it's +5. And if I'm moving, it's going to add a whole shitload more bonuses. So you're not going to hit the guy. Essentially not going to hit the guy. When he's in motion, what happens next turn? He moves out of your line of sight and survives. That's pretty much what we want to use motion for. Is if we're like in a situation like this, where we took the chance to go in there, and the tiger's over here. Now the tiger rolls up on us. That's Eagle's point blank. We say, okay, motion attempt, and it doesn't matter what facing we have versus the tiger. He's going to destroy us any direction we face. Mm-hmm. So motion, turn the hell around, or in this case, you probably want to go 1-2. So you don't have to go 1-2-3. You want to go 1-2 to take 2 ball rolls, and then your movement phase, when he misses, you just move out. Now he can't fire on you. Now you just saved your unit. Okay, so just don't go motion and keep the same covered arc. You could go there technically, right? But he could just swivel his gun at a +2, +1 for your size. He's still going to hit you, on an 8 if he's buttoned up. So spin that way, take the bog checks, and save yourself. And now you're safe. That's how we get out of that. Another advantage of being in a building, especially a building with 2 hexes, or even 1 hex. Same thing applies here. Let's say he rolls up on us here. Let me move this stuff out of the way. Let's see, he rolls up on us here. Oops. Turret that way, and we're facing. Let's say we're facing this way. Attempt our motion attempt. We can go 1-2, and then next turn we exit. Building's in the way. He can't kill us. Then we say, get the hell out of dodge, and we use our 14 movement factors to get out of dodge. Because you have the terrain in there. That's a huge advantage I actually hadn't thought of. That if you're actually occupying a building hex, sure, you got to take the bog rolls, but he's not going to miss, in the defensive fire phase next turn if you're not already in motion. And if you're in motion, you just leave. There's no starting movement point expenditures that he could defensive fire on. You simply leave the hex and he can't do anything. Yep. And you save your tank. You take a couple bog checks, but you're much better to pass those than not, because you probably need like a 10 or something like that, depending on the vehicle, nationality, and all the other bullshit modifiers. So check your bog rolls, right? Be familiar with the bog table, and then you could just leave, and your tank is A-okay. A-okay. Because again, he's probably not going to hit you when he moves, and you go in motion, and you're in good terrain. That's a +4 straight on your side. On his side, it's +1 at least for button up. because he's not going to roll up on you CE with your machine guns. You're just going to blast him, and then he's got the bounding fire penalties, which is probably going to be at least +4. So he's looking at +9. Even with your size modifier, he needs the snake eyes to hit. Not going to happen, guys. Not going to happen. Well, unless you use the Vasilbot often.
Yeah.
Hey, Stu, I've got a question. What
Okay.
is the modifier on that? Because there's a modifier for entering a stone building or entering a woods building on the bog modifier. Would those not apply if you're turning inside a building you're already in?
They should also apply for the bog check, based on what you're in. They should also apply.
What he's saying is usually like you take like a +3 modifier if you only expend half of your MP to
Right.
enter the hex.
Oh,
So,
I see what you're saying.
right, so my question, but I think
If it's
the
just
answer
like
is-
flat, a bit like a flat bog roll.
yeah.
Good question. Good question. I think the terrain should apply. You guys might want to check that up. Let me see. Where's the bog? Good lord.
Well, you're not expending movement points to enter the hex. So my guess is that you just roll a bog check, and the only modifiers that the motion ones don't count. The only ones that would count would be like whether you're high ground pressure.
Because you're not entering. So yeah, it'd be normal ground pressure. Higher. Apparently by the bog check, yeah, if you look on the bog check chart, you're not entering the woods and you're not entering a stone building. So you're only looking at normal high ground pressure, pretty much, because you're probably going to be fully tracked because half tracks can't go into buildings and you don't have half tracks, and you're not gaining elevation. So yeah, you're almost immune to bog at that point. So
Right,
good
yeah.
point. Good point.
Yeah.
That's something.
Oh, Sherman rolled the 11, then he's still going to be bogged.
Yeah.
You still got 3.
Go into motion in reverse.
Not an SK.
Yeah, you can't get reverse in SK.
Not an SK. Plus, you're not gonna hit the guy anyway. You're not gonna be able to blow the tank up anyway. So, and if you could, just fire the some bitch. Yeah, be exactly reverse. Get the hell out of here with those ASL terms. But yeah. So that's a funny thing. Again, motion status. Very small section of the rules. Very small. Changing your covered arc to fire to do the trick to get your face towards him during his movement phase. A trick that's not really accentuated in the rules. It's just there. You may.
Yeah, I wish I had read that before I did Clash, because I could have saved my tiger that way.
Yeah. Huge difference. So again, very small, very distinct sections of motion status, how to apply it, when to roll for it, free covered arc changes, the bog, which we just learned right now, and I would agree with you. I don't think because you're not entering the building, but there could be some verbiage somewhere hidden in the SK rules. It's probably under machine gun fire, but exactly. So that's a good point. If that's the case, oh yeah, that's even better. It's even more important that once you enter that building, as long as you don't bog, if you bog, you're screwed, because then he just rolls up on you, right? Because then you can't do a motion status if you're immobile. If you're bog, you're considered immobile. So you have to be a mobile vehicle. So risk versus reward. If you get in there, you can get the hell out when he rolls up on you. And so it's risk versus reward, gentlemen. So let's go to our support weapons and our vehicles themselves. So let's go with our Sherman tank here. So let's start with the easy one first. Let's go with ATR. I got a Russian unit. This is right after the war. Let's put the German here. Okay. Side. So for most of you guys, this might be simple. For the guys that haven't covered anti-tank weapons, again, this is where you're going to get in combined arms. You have to know what you're up against. So ATR, pretty straightforward for an ATR. What do we need to do to attack this vehicle? We want to try and destroy that. First of all, it's got a 112. What does the 1 signify? .112. Look at a machine gun. What's a machine gun?
It's fire. It's firepower.
Yeah, firepower and range, right?
Mhm.
If we're firing on infantry, you can apply the ATR as a 1 firepower attack on infantry units. So you can fire directly on the IFT. So if this unit is if the German unit is moving from L9 to N10, wanting to go to N9, you may fire with the ATR only. and you may fire to hit. So what happens when you fire to hit? What's the thing you're avoiding when you're firing to hit?
The TEM.
And what else? Cowering. Right? Because you're firing on the to hit table.
Okay.
So if you fire the to hit, you apply your firepower to the infantry fire table without TEM. So if he's moving in the open, it's going to be -2 to hit, right? Let's say he's non-assault moving. So it's moving in the open, non-assault movement. It's -2 to hit. But we're firing with the ATR. We fire on the to hit chart. So that would be a, what would we need to hit this unit? What's the base?
I'm not so sure you can fire up using the ITT, infantry target type, to fire on that. Maybe you can in ASL, but SK, looking at 4.4.4, it says an ATR is used on the IFT versus infantry as a 1 FP support weapon.
Okay. So you can't fire a hit on that?
Check the charts, though, Mark. Check the charts.
Yeah, it doesn't.
The chart gives you 1 firepower on the ITT for an ATR.
All right. You just don't get the -2, right?
Yeah, look at the 2 hit chart.
You don't get the -2 in the open. Would you do that? Probably not.
That's interesting. Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah, never thought of doing that.
Yeah. I mean, most people would take the 1 -2, right? Because a 1 flat isn't going to be much. You need a 4. But a 1 -2, you need a 6 or 7 for Pintas check. So the option, it's the same thing with like a 20L AA gun, like in Legio Patria Nostra. Are you going to fire the to hit with a 20L, or are you going to fire directly on the IFV with 6 firepower? Considering the 20L is on the 1 chart.
Yeah, what to hit chart are you using that shows an ATR? I'm looking at the starter kit pre-table, and for the ATR, it's dashed on the.
Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing.
It doesn't allow you to
Same
fire at all?
here. Yeah.
Okay. All right, forget it then. In that case, if you have to question, then it doesn't apply. All right.
Yeah.
So ATR directly on the IFD, 1 -2, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
On our vehicle over here, what do we need to hit him? He's not moving. We're just sitting here. It's our prep fire phase.
You 10.
Yeah, 10, right? 10 base to hit. What do we need to kill him? So, right, this is just straight up to hit to kill. And then we'll go with the other one. So where's the to kill chart?
The to kill for German ATR is a
6.
Is a 6. Yeah.
You need to roll a 3.
Okay. Which one? I'm sorry. Which one are you looking at? Look at the ATR, AP to kill table, because armor piercing, right?
You got the
I'm
Russian.
sorry, I was looking at the German ATR. This is a Russian ATR. My bad.
Right.
7.
No, it's okay. That's okay. It's easily done. Actually, it's kind of reddish. It should be kind of brownish, but yeah. It doesn't even match the color on my chart here. So whatever. So Russian ATRs are good. They have a 6 to kill. So what's the range?
Well, it's 3 to 6 hexes. The Russian ATR is base to kill numbers is 7.
Right. Where'd you get the 7 from?
I am looking at
The
the
2 kill table.
chart. Yeah, to kill table. Or 3 to kill table.
Okay. So it says 6 under ATR. How do you get the 7?
No. You're the one who's now looking at the German ATR.
Yeah, it's the Russian ATR we're looking at.
Yeah.
Russian ATR is line below it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Russian. I'm looking at the Russian ATR, the red ATR. It should be brown on my screen here. So the Russian ATR has a basic to kill number of what?
Oh, okay. All right. Are you looking at the
3 6 of 7.
Yeah.
I see. Because you're looking at the SK charts. Yeah.
Charts incorporate all that in.
Yeah.
So,
which I don't really. You
Yes,
guys
I know
know.
you don't
You guys know I don't care for that. So yeah,
Right.
because yeah, it just confuses it when you go up because you're looking for that and then you don't apply the to kill number change. So anyway, yes, it will be a 7 at that range. So against that armor, it's got a 7, and so the armor is what on that vehicle?
3 for the side.
A roll to hit. What do we do here? That's what we rolled to hit. 7. What's the armor? First of all, did we hit?
It's a turret hit, so the armor goes up from 3 to a 4.
Right.
Yep.
So it's a 7 minus 4, base to kill number 3. We roll, let's say we roll a 3 as the effect value.
Then you have rolled equal to the to kill number. On a turret hit, that would be a shock.
Okay, how do you determine shock on that one?
Okay, the AFV destruction table says if you equal the to kill number, which if assuming you rolled a 3, you've equaled the to kill number that you needed.
Right.
And for direct fire, it is immobilization if it's a hull hit, or shock if it's a turret hit.
Okay. And because we rolled 7 with a 2, because we rolled the turret on the to hit shot, which you have to remember, gentlemen, when you fire to hit, remember what part of the tank you hit, because it may make a difference when you do that final to kill number. So in this case, with the early war or low armor, ATR, machine gun, stuff like that, you got to keep track of what you hit. If you fire your Tiger at something, who cares what you hit? It's probably just going to blow it up. So most of the time, people ignore kind of where you hit it. Just going to blow it up. So yeah, in this case, it would go up to a 4. We need to kill a 3. It would be immediately shocked. No possible shock. It would just straight up be shocked. And of course, oh, there's my blue counter. And it would just straight up be shocked. If that tank were moving, drives up here, we take a shot at it right here. Let's say it goes over here and then comes this way and then turns covered arc over there, and we shock it, it immediately stops. It is now stopped. No longer in motion, and it is shocked. Okay?
Right.
That's
but it is still considered a moving target.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
So we have an ATR. That's our ATR to kill. Okay?
At least until the end of the movement phase, or at the end of the advancing part.
Right. So let's go with a bazooka. Where's our bazooka? Come on, Americans. Flip. Get rid of the ATR. We're just going to make it pretty. Let's go with it. Where's the American?
I don't think you have an American squad.
No, I'm going to pop a record. Squads. Here's your fine American squad.
We just call it a Lend-Lease bazooka.
There you go. Okay, same situation. We're not going to bother with the movement points in LOS because they apply. There might be some modifiers on your chart, on your light anti. Oh God, I gotta look at the SK charts. So I don't know on their to hits if they have anything which excludes light anti-tank weapons. It says light anti-tank weapon. Oh, okay, avoiding blast. So all the modifiers apply normally, but yeah, only the 12. So tank rolls up. Right here, and then we stop right here. Tank moved, and we stopped right there. Unit fires the bazooka. What do we need to hit?
Thinking 8.
Yeah, you look right. You look.
Yeah,
on
you
the
guys
back.
can flip it over. Yeah, you guys can flip it over. The range modifier is on the counter itself. Not like the ATR. The ATR goes on your to hit charts, right? Not an ATR. It has its own to hit table. Okay, and it could only go out to 4 hexes, so range, firepower is 8, range is 4. The 8 versus infantry. So versus vehicles, we need what to hit this guy? He's moving, and we're in this building. What's the base to hit number on this bazooka?
8.
8. What modifiers do we have to deal with?
He is a moving target, so you'd have to add +2.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, back.
Did he try to avoid the backblast? Because if you do, you've got a +2.
Right. Backblast. If he does not mention that the backblast applies unless he states otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he can't say, "Oh, I fired. Oh, I won't take the backblast." That showed up in Steve Buy's game, but the default, when I was reading up on it later, because we had a discussion on that, the backblast applies unless you want to take the attack. So what does that mean, backblast? Can someone describe what the backblast is and what I don't care. Let's say +2. Let's say I don't want the +2. Why do I care? So here's my hit to hit roll. Here's my to hit roll. Boom.
You did not want to take the backblast.
No,
Why?
Absolutely not.
Why?
You just tried your own squad.
Yeah,
You tried your own squad.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. Walk me through this. I have no clue what you're talking about. Because I haven't read the SK book. I'm just firing my bazooka. Well, what are you talking about, backblast?
So, go ahead. Yep, go ahead. You do it. All right.
There's my to hit roll.
All right. I guess I'll do it then. Okay. All right. So I
don't get the +2, right? So if I don't take the backblast, I don't get that. So it's easier to hit him.
Right. Yes, that is true.
So does the 7 hit the first and foremost? Does the 7 hit the vehicle?
Actually, it does not, because your to hit number would be modified to a 6.
Okay. Do you see that?
Right. So your base is 8. Your base to hit number is an 8
right.
+2 because the vehicle was moving. So the vehicles are moving.
Correct. So that would be a miss. So I would need a 6 or less to hit, straight up.
Yep. However, if you don't avoid the backblast, then the occupants of a building hex, and you're in a building, you don't avoid backblast. Then your to hit number, your to hit roll, also becomes the colored die becomes an attack on the one firepower table of the IFT on the occupants of the hex with a bazooka.
Okay.
Yeah, with no TEM.
With no temp. Therefore, you look and you rolled a 1 on the colored die, and you look on the backblast die roll, and that would be a K/1. So you would be reduced to a half squad and have to take a 1 morale check.
Okay. If I had 2 guys in there, and the other guy didn't fire the bazooka, what happens then?
Then you randomly select which unit takes the K,
right.
And then everybody else, then everyone else, including the just created half squad, if it was a half squad, it was a squad being reduced.
Takes the 1 MC.
Take a 1 MC
right.
as well.
So we're going to use Markbot 3.2. I upgraded last week. Let's go with random selection.
You're going to love this one. Yep.
Okay. So the bazooka guy. So the bazooka guy catches it. So he gets K'd, right?
Yeah, he gets K'd.
He gets K'd. They earn a victory point, and now both these guys have to take a 1 morale check, right?
Yep.
Top guy makes it. Top guy pins, right?
Yeah. Well, congratulations. Yeah.
The bottom guy blows up. Are we subject to ELR failure on that morale check?
As far as I know, everything's in effect.
Yeah, it's just like a normal morale check. Just like a normal morale check.
Yeah.
So we missed the tank. We killed half of our guys. We blew up and we pinned the guy. Now his infantry can come behind and enter these buildings and essentially be all half firepower. And the Germans are just saying, "Yay!"
Those Americans.
Yeah, those boys Americans are stupid. But sometimes you might want to avoid that penalty and you want to take that. Like if you got a great shot, if there's only a half squad in there, or actually you're just going to lose a half squad anyways, it doesn't really matter. So that's what we're looking at in Panzerfaust. Panzer Shrek, exact same thing.
Yeah,
exact same thing.
Bazookas.
Yep. The to hit chart's the same. Exactly the same. Now let's go to the next one. Let's move this shit out of the way. Okay.
Remember, it also applies inside a vehicle, rubble, pillbox, cave, sewer as well.
Yeah, SK though. that'll be the new expansion pack. Expansion pack. Okay. So we got the Sherman rolling up on us, right? The Sherman doesn't realize that it's 1944.
I forget all.
And he says, "I'm going to blast this son of a bitch right here because he broke my 6+1 Stu last week, and I'm just going to take him out." So Stu's savior rolls up in Russian tank F and wants to blast this unit. This unit says, "I want to fire a Panzerfaust on you." First of all, what is a Panzerfaust?
One-shot bazooka.
It's a one-shot bazooka, and it's considered a support weapon. How many support weapons can this unit use before it exhausts its firepower, can't use its firepower? How many support weapons can a multi-man counter, can a squad use? Just saying squad. How many? Two support weapons. A Panzerfaust is considered how many support weapons?
One.
One half.
One half?
Oh, I don't know. Hopefully it's not different. I just hope to God it's not different in SK.
No, it's one.
It's one in SK.
Yeah, it's one. It's one support weapon. Yeah, it so you can fire. So the squad can attempt to fire a maximum of 2.
As long as it doesn't use its inherent
As
firepower.
long as, right, at the sacrifice of its own inherent firepower. Right. Yeah.
Okay, so it could fire. But what? Let's see. Full strength.
Don't see anything about being half a
Okay.
Yeah.
weapon.
So this unit wants to fire Panzerfaust. So how do we do the Panzerfaust check? We can't. First of all, we cannot. We cannot have been first fired. If this guy's first fired, no Panzerfaust.
Right.
Well, wait a minute. He can if he first fired only his inherent firepower, he can still fire a support weapon. So he can still fire a single Panzerfaust at that point, I thought. Could be wrong, but just like if he had a machine gun, right? If you fire the inherent firepower, you can still fire the light machine gun as a separate shot.
Let's see. I just want to make
a
sure.
unit may not make a PF check as subsequent first fire or final protective fire.
It wouldn't be, though. It would be just like if he had a machine gun, right? If you put a light machine gun on him, you could take 2 shots with him, one with the inherent firepower and a separate first fire shot with the machine gun.
If you look at the second paragraph under 442, I think that's saying that you may not make subsequent first fire or at PF.
That's what I'm saying, though. It wouldn't be. It wouldn't be a subsequent first fire shot. It would still be a first fire shot. It would just be the first fire shot with the support weapon.
Right.
That's odd. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, it constitutes 2 support with even parent supports. Yeah, gotcha. That's kind of weird that because you can't fire it anyway. So anyway, we attempt to check Panzerfaust. What do we need to check for this unit right here?
What year is it?
44.
Okay. So in 44, you get 1.5 Panzerfaust for the number of squads you have in the entire OB. So basically, you have to round down, so you can only have a maximum number of 1 Panzerfaust in this squad. And then you have to roll a single die, 3 or less, and he has a Panzerfaust. If it's above that, he doesn't have one.
Right. So Markbot 3.2. Got it. Damn, I'm so glad I upgraded.
I know, yeah. Probably goes well, yeah.
Okay, Panzerfaust range, gentlemen. Okay, this is a nice little counter. I love the counter. I mean, back in SL, they had counters for Panzerfaust. These are very useful because otherwise there's no, it has its own to hit chart. So this Panzerfaust wishes to fire on this tank. Using the to hit chart on the Panzerfaust, what does it need to hit this tank? Remember, it is a light anti-tank weapon. And
6.
Just like the bazooka. So it needs a base 6 to hit. Why? Well, it needs a base 8 to hit. What would the modifiers be? The Sherman. So the Sherman moved there. These guys haven't moved.
I'm showing a base 6.
The hex a range of 1?
2.
Okay, no, this guy's adjacent. The guy adjacent to Mark. No, that's all right. No, that's all right. No, no worries.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're ahead. We'll clone this and put this one down here. Absolutely. Yeah. So this one down here is a 2 hex range. So he looks at the 6. This guy right here, the squad, who rolled his 2, needs an 8 base to hit. So what modifiers are we going to apply versus the Sherman? So we need an 8. It's moving. So what does it change it to?
Well, again, he has to take +2 for the motion,
right?
And then he also has to backblast or not. If he decides he wants to avoid the backblast, he has to add an additional +2 to his die to hit roll.
And what else?
It's a large target.
Large target.
Large target, yeah.
Large target. See here in the case, you might want to take the backblast modifier because it's it's only a +1. It's not too much of a big difference. So what do we need to hit that guy if that half squad is firing against that tank? Base 8, 2 to move makes it a 6, 2 for backblast makes it a 4. +1 for size, makes it a 5.
Oh well, then it's a good thing you rolled a 2 because the half squad had to add 1 to his roll.
Yeah, we're getting that. We're doing full squad. We're doing full squad first.
Oh, no, full squad. Okay, full squad firing. Okay,
So full squad fires. So that's why we rolled a 2. So we got that. So we need a 5 to hit. Markbot 3.02. Hell yeah!
Wow.
So we hit it. God, man, jeez. I'm not going to play you this week, Mark. So on your to kill table, you look on your to kill table, vehicle to kill. Heat.
Not applicable because it burns.
yeah. It is a heat weapon. And if you look on the charts the whole way to the right, it has it on the counter as well. But if you look at the chart, I don't even know my chart shows up over here. Nope. Whole way to the right, we're looking at a 31 to kill. Can we miss that tank? What's the only thing that's going to save that tank?
If you roll 12,
Okay.
and dud.
Panzerfaust dud.
Okay, I just uninstalled 3.02. We're going back to Markbot 3.0.
Oh, that was a mistake.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, we got a 10, so it still blows up. So we're still good to go.
Yeah.
We're still good to go. So that's your Panzerfaust. Now, as Mark pointed out, and again, firing this unit over here needs a base 6 to hit. 2 for moving makes it a 4. 2 for Black Blast makes it a 2.
Yep.
And size makes it a 3. Over here, you might consider taking the Back Blast and making it a 5 to hit. Because this is a 3 to hit. Because like John was saying, you aren't going to get that many Panzerfausts. The Panzerfaust shots are what you count against. So if I roll and I get a Panzerfaust, I shoot it, that count against me. So if I'm rolling 3s all day with my Panzerfaust, I'm kind of wasting them, right? So right there, you might consider taking a Back Blast or fire these guys first. The choice is up to you. Again, that's based on what you need to do in your game. Now, let's go with Mark says. The half squad attempts. Say the squad, I'm going to save the squad. Let's say he's got an HMG or MMG. I don't want to bother with that. The half squad tries to pull a Panzerfaust out of his back pocket. What's he need to roll? Does he need a 1 through 3 like the squad, or is it different?
He has to, since he's a half squad, he has to add 1 more to his hit modifier.
Right. Yep. Look at that. We got it anyway. So a squad essentially is a 1 or 2 versus a vehicle. We're gonna exclude it. And then adding to that, the leader. What does he need to roll to attack a tank, to attack a vehicle with a Panzerfaust?
He would need to roll a 1.
He has to add 2, so he definitely has to roll.
Okay.
Just
The leader rolls a 6.
Snake eyes.
Leader rolls a 6. Do I give a shit about a 6?
Yay, pins.
All right. So both of our multi-man counters would have gotten Panzerfaust. The leader, in his attempt, would pin and not get a Panzerfaust on the 6. Okay? Very powerful. If an enemy unit rolls up into this building, and I want to do the same thing, because your heat ammunition, your bazookas, your Panzerschrecks, let me flip them, and your Panzerfausts may fire at units in buildings. You don't have walls in SK yet, but you may fire at units in buildings. So, how does that affect? Does that affect anything with a bazooka? No effect on the bazooka. Rolls to hit normally, but there's no infantry fire, infantry target type. It's just bazooka to hit chart. Panzerschreck, because it follows along with the bazooka rules, bazooka to Panzerschreck to hit chart. No change, although the modifiers. Panzerfaust. How does the Panzerfaust change? Availability. You're not firing at a tank, it's harder to get the Panzerfaust. It adds another 1. So, given that, can this leader fire a Panzerfaust at an infantry unit?
He would because he has to add +3 to his die roll.
Correct.
The only time he might is if it's 1945, where you get another minus.
Where it changes the modifier. Absolutely. So, no for that. The half squad needs a lot. I think he needs a 1 because he'd be plus 1 for the half squad, +1 for non-vehicle. So he would need a 1, and the squad would need a 1 or a 2 to fire that. Now, he gets it. And he hits. He hits the infantry in this location. What's the effect of a Panzerfaust compared to a bazooka, compared to a Panzerschreck versus that location? A Panzerschreck and a bazooka are essentially the same rules. They fire on that. What's the attack? I fire and I hit.
A bazooka is an 8. A Panzerschreck is a 12, and a Panzerfaust is a 16.
Okay.
The Panzerfaust only affects one of the 3 squads.
The Panzerfaust only affects one squad.
Yep.
One unit in that location. There could be a leader there or whatever. So unless you want to, I don't know if you could specifically specify. You just fire at the hex and it just hits one target.
I think
you can specify if they
Like
possess a support weapon or
okay.
a gun.
Oh, right.
Then
Okay.
You can select them specifically.
Okay. So if this guy had a demo charge, you could target the demo charge guy.
Oh, that's an interesting. Well, I guess I hadn't really encountered that. Yep.
Yeah, and so 16 firepower again because you added the +2 to hit. It's going to be 16 chart, and just vaporize them. Okay, so those are pretty much. There's some Piats in the game as well. Let me pop that out real quick.
Oh yeah, that's the one weapon you didn't. Yeah, you didn't add them to the mix. Yeah. Yeah,
that's a really good weapon. I like the Piat. Okay, let's move here. Let's say this guy's squad. Okay. The Piat wants to fire on this unit here. All right. It's a heat weapon. It's a heat type ammo. It may fire at infantry units in buildings. What does he need to hit this infantry unit right next to him? First of all, we could flip it.
Oh, next to him. Yeah.
Oh, there's no flip. Oh, there it is. Mouth. Yeah. Oh, that's right, because they mouth. The bazookas, you'll notice on the bazookas and the Panzerschreck, there is no malfunction. There's only destruction. If you roll a 10, it's gone. 11, gone. Piats, malfunction. Breakdown 10. So you could repair it. It's kind of nice. So the Piat fires at that unit there. What does it need to hit? The squad.
9.
Base 9?
Well, he's 7. Yeah, it's 9 plus 2, right?
And he's in a building. Okay.
Yep.
Anything else apply?
No backblast on a Piat.
Why not?
It doesn't have a backblast. It's
No
a
backblast.
spring-loaded weapon. It's a big spring gun.
Yep. You just
It's
launch
a
the
Daisy
sucker.
air rifle with a heat warhead.
Yeah. Somebody got John an air rifle for Christmas, and he's going to use it against a German unit. So no backblast for Piats. So they're free to fire from buildings all day long. Really nice weapon. Just remember the bridge too far. Those guys are firing Piats all day. So actually they're firing from the rooftop, but you get the idea. But yes, spring loaded, very short range. 3 hexes, not fun, but it's a 5. I mean, it's better. Plus you don't have the backblast, so it's pretty effective, to be honest with you. Pretty effective. Don't underestimate the Piats. It's 15 to kill, slightly less than a bazooka, but still 15 to kill on an 8 armor, or like if this tank's rolling up here, 15 to kill on a 6 armor. It's pretty good, guys. Yeah. Pretty good. Pretty effective weapon. All right, so we've covered these. Let's get these out of the way. ATR out of the way. Infantry, HMJ, light machine guns. This is where this comes involved. Okay.
Tony, you know how to do that.
We have a light machine gun. This is let's say it's a captured weapon.
You get lucky, John.
Or light machine gun, heavy machine gun, any machine gun. I don't know where my medium ended up. Did I delete them? Screw the medium. I don't know. Here's the medium. Okay. Any machine gun. They're all equivalent. Unless what? What's the only different machine gun that you're going to be looking at?
50 cal.
My dudes. 12.7.
50 cal, 12.7 millimeters. All right. 50 cal.
Wow. Okay. Huh.
Everybody else is a 4. HMG, 4. Medium, 4. LMG, 4. All 4 to kill. So this British vehicle rolls up on us, and we fire at him at a 7 hex range. For whatever reason. Okay. And we roll, and we actually get a hit. Okay, because it's a normal to hit. You can either fire on the CE directly, or we fire to hit. Let's say he's CE. Okay. We fire on the tank. Well, let's say he's button up first, just for shits and giggles. So for normal to hit, what we need to hit if he moved right there. 7 hex range.
It's 7 hex.
7 hex
base
moving.
9. Okay, so we need a 7.
7, and what else for the vehicle?
He's small. So
Small
you have to
target.
add another.
Right.
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
So we'll roll to hit. So we roll a 3. Where do we hit the tank?
Ooh, you are doing well tonight, Stu.
I know I'm
Turret.
telling you, I upgraded. It's great.
The armor.
Yeah, shredding. So we hit that in the turret. Does it matter on this vehicle?
No.
No.
Yeah,
What-
this particular vehicle, no.
More importantly, what else happens with my machine gun?
Kept rate.
Capture rate of fire. So he gets hit right there. So the to kill on that vehicle is what? We need a base to kill is 4. Do we have any
So you
range
need a
modifiers at 7? On the to
Well,
kill.
the base kill is a 4, and I can say the answer to that is no because I'm looking at my SK chart.
Right.
Yeah.
It says at
We've
7 to 12.
already got that.
Yeah.
That's already dialed in for us. so-
Right. That's why I put him at 7. So 7, no to kill difference. So I need a 3. Let me roll. Let's say my to hit was the same as the kill. Let me see if I get lucky again. Nope. But let's say that the hit was to kill. I rolled a 3 on the to kill on this vehicle.
It's
What's the
slightly
effect?
different. That is a stun, not a shock. Machine guns, you have to look on a separate table on your AFV destruction table. You have to look in a separate column. And MGs, if you roll equal to the to kill number instead of a shock or an immobilization, it is a stun.
Okay. Remember what I said about
if
if?
the crew is CE.
What's that?
If the crew is CE, is that
No. It is no. On the well, I mean right. It's buttoned up right now.
Right now it's buttoned up. We're gonna get to see in a second, John. It's buttoned up
Right.
right now.
Right. So it's buttoned up, and on the AFP destruction table it says equal to kill number. Okay, which is what we rolled because we needed a 3 to kill.
Right.
And MG, the MG column says stun.
Straight up stun.
Yep.
Big stun, little stun.
little stun?
Little stun. What's the difference between a big stun and little stun?
Wounded tank commander and a dead tank commander.
Right,
Big stun.
right. And
You
when
use
do you know?
immediately recall.
If you didn't know that, when would you realize that? When does
when your
this,
opponent hits you, yeah.
what happens? When do you address these stun markers?
They're red, so the end of the close combat phase.
Red be at the end of close combat phase. Exactly. So you flip it, and then you flip it, and then you'll see the differences between the markers. The only difference is recall. Okay. All right. Let me throw something out there just because I thought of it and because I screwed somebody else because of this. Boom. Let's go. And this will happen. Let me go the
This will happen,
axis.
especially in early war stuff. Yeah.
The axis.
Mhm.
The stinking axis. Okay, our target was this vehicle instead. What difference, if any? The result is the same. Roll 3 to hit. Actually,
And
we
3.
stun this guy, and this guy rolls up on us, and we roll a 3 to hit again, and we roll a 3 for actually a 4. Actually, no, we roll that's a turret hit. So if we roll a turret hit on this tank at a range of 7, let's see, well, he's out to 7. 7 or
Yeah,
8.
turret on turret, right? Because that's a boxed one. You have to add an additional. His armor factor is a 1 for the turret hit.
Okay.
So you would still need a 3 to kill.
Okay, so I just want to keep the numbers the same. All right, gentlemen? If that was not a turret hit, that would be a hull hit, which would be a 0, which would make it a slightly easier to kill him. So a 3 would do what if we hit his hull?
3 still is a stun.
Nope. No. On the Japanese tank.
Oh, a 3. Oh, a 3. Yeah, a 3 would be an elimination. Yes,
Right,
you're right.
because it's less than the final kill number. So a 3 would destroy that tank if we did not hit it in the turret. So we hit it in the turret, and now we get a stun.
except it is a one-man turreted vehicle, which means instead of being a little stun, it's a big stun.
Big stun. This is where you gotta know your turrets, people. One-man turret, if you stun, you racked up that guy's brains, and this vehicle will be recalled on a stun from your machine guns, mind you, and this vehicle over here will simply just be small stunned, and he'll be +1 to hit. This guy will recall on the exact same result. Equal to kill, recall, equal to kill, stun. One-man turret, distinction, not a one-man turret. So your one-man turret, low armor vehicles are very vulnerable to your machine guns. Now, if he's got an HMG, am I rolling my low armor vehicles in the LOS of this unit? If I can help it.
Not if you can help it, because he can take lots and lots of shots on you.
He could take lots and lots of shots on you. This is like the 50 cal over here. Pop, 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 pop. You know?
Right. As long as he's not marked with a first fire counter, he can keep firing it.
He can keep firing, and if he gets an equal to the kill number, which in this case is if it's a hull, it will be a 4. If it's a turret, it will be a 3. 4 is not bad. I mean, a 4 is doable. And that thing is simply recalled. It was stunned, it stops, it's done. Next turn, it's got to leave the game. During its movement phase, it has to move by the shortest MF movement points possible. Machine guns can take out small or weak armored vehicles. Now, that unit is CE over here. We rolled it to hit.
One quick question, if I may, and I promise I don't want to pull a Craig Raniere, but is the community consider a German HMG at 12.7 or 7.92? I know what it is in real life. I just want to know what the community considers it. For purposes of the game.
I think
purposes in the HMG, I think, is considered an MG.
Yeah, just straight up MG.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's how I've been playing it. But...
Yeah, I've never heard anything. I think it's just the 50 cal machine gun is the only one that would be on the 12.7 table.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No. Well, just because you mentioned 12.7, and only because you mentioned 12.7, John, look on the info on this vehicle, and we'll come back to that. Okay.
Which vehicle are we talking about?
On the British vehicle.
Okay.
Hit info, show info on that, and what do you see?
I see. It's got a 12.7 and an MG side by side.
Okay, we're coming back to that right after this example. So the medium machine gun fires, rolls a 3 on the to hit. Okay. So it hits the vehicle, turret, but he's CE. For some reason, he's CE, okay? So we rolled it to kill. What happens?
Okay.
Hold on, let me see. Give me a... Damn it, to kill. Come on, mark by 3 point. There we go. To kill is a 3. Let's say that to kill was a 1 greater than needed to kill him. So if we needed what the MG needed, that'd be the range of 7, so we need a 4 to equal. So we rolled a 4. We roll a 4, so it's modified to a 5. Okay, eliminate that. So we roll a 4 to kill. So the 4 is equal to it, but you add his armor, which makes it a 5. I'm gonna move it out to 7 hex range, just so yes. So it is a 5 to kill, but we rolled a 4, but the to kill number changed to a 5. Is there anything else we need to look at?
It's a normal morale check, right? Because it's a collateral hit.
Collateral hit. What's the collateral hit again?
It's basically your firepower. So you just or is it firepower? Is it use the 4 firepower? But it's an IFT. It's an attack on the IFT, basically using the same die roll that you used for the 2 kill.
Right. Do you guys see that? We hit the tank with our medium machine gun with a CE status unit. We're firing at the tank. The bullets are bouncing off, ricocheting off the tank. That ricochet, the same thing like when we covered the Kalashnikov Sovka, HE against a German Tiger, which is CE, you not going to kill him with AP. Fire an HE round on it for the same thing. The HE round hits him. Now you're firing. Now your to kill result on that to hit is equivalent to collateral attack on the IFT. Exactly the same thing here. Our strength of our machine gun is a 5, and we rolled a 4. Well, we rolled 1 less than what we need to kill. But in this case, but you have to add the +2. Why do we add +2?
Tanks in motion.
No,
CE. That's for the CE.
The CE status is +2 because you're CE. CE units are +2 from fire. Like if I were to fire like straight on my infantry fire table, let's say this unit itself wanted to fire, just not to kill, I'm just going to fire in your unit to fire in your CE crew. Then you would just add up the firepower, and the CE status is a +2. The +2 is a dice roll modifier. It is not a terrain effect modifier. There's a difference. You'll find that out. It might not be defined in SK, but just remember, dice roll modifier. Okay. So with that roll of 4, we add 2 to the infantry fire table because that's the collateral attack. Now we got a normal morale check on that tank, on the tank commander. We didn't kill the tank. We didn't stun the tank. Nothing. But because he's CE, we got an effect upon the commander. So he's going to have to roll a morale check. He rolls a 5. He's fine. If he fails that morale check, come on, Markbot 3.0. Oh my God. We got a 10. So he fails the morale check.
Yep.
What happens to that vehicle?
Little stun.
Little stun. What else happens to the vehicle?
Well, he immediately stopped. Yeah, he's buttoned up and he stopped.
He immediately buttons up and he stops. Okay? So if you got ready to fire the machine gun, you couldn't fire it again if the first one stunned him. If the first one failed his morale check, he buttons up and stop. And I think he's considered to expend the rest of his movement points in that hex. So if you got ready to fire the machine gun, you could fire on him again, but on to kill only, and there won't be any collateral attack versus the CE crew because now there is no longer a CE crew. Okay? That's why a lot of guys button up with their Tigers when there's infantry hanging around or machine guns in range. Because a 6 firepower +2 can get lucky. So we just button up, or if you're a man, if you get 9 morale, I don't think I'd bother. 9 morale is going to pass. I mean, you're going to pass a lot. But if you don't want to take the chance, because you're probably not going to have 15 Tigers in the room roaming around, then you're fine. So that's what happens to that. Any questions on the resolution of the machine gun and the collateral attack versus the buttoned up, or actually the CE unit?
Yeah, I would say just a couple of minor points, with at least with the CE unit. And when you rolled 10, that was a break. If you rolled exactly an 8, which would be his morale number, then he's pinned. So he's just buttoned up for the rest of the turn.
Right. No stun, just buttoned up.
He's just buttoned up. Does he stop or not? I think he just buttons up, right?
He just buttons up. Yes, because you're not stunned. Yeah.
Right.
The stun on the counter, no repair fire move. So if you just button up, you just button up.
And if you roll boxcars on your morale check,
what do you guys think if he rolls boxcars?
I think that's a big stun.
It's a big stun. I'm pretty sure it's a big stun. But if you're going to play with tanks, no stun and big stun. And what tanks are more vulnerable are Japanese single-man turrets, which are prevalent.
Yes, yeah, it's a big stun. Yeah, big stun if you roll.
Yeah, well, and I don't think SK3 has one-man turrets. I'm not familiar with all the scenarios with SK3, but there might be. So big stun, little stun. Know the differences between those and how they affect. If the little stun gets stunned again, what happens?
Then he's a big stun.
Big stun. He grows up to be a big boy, and then he's get the hell out. So that's what we're looking at, the stuns. So stun's very important on the tank. So machine guns, light armor, CE, what's the lesson? What's the lesson plan we're going to take home to mom?
Don't play with machine guns.
Don't piss off the machine gun. Exactly. Don't play with the machine guns. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt. Now, let's go back to this tank for one moment. We have this shitty Japanese. Well, this wonderful. Actually, I love these tanks because they just suck. So we got this tank.
Yeah.
We got this tank rolling here, and we got the Mark 6, the Mark 6B, baby, the Mark DB is coming up here, and so he stopped. I'm stopped right there, and I know this Japanese tank because you know how they are. They're coming up behind you, going to kill you. So we're rolling like this, and he forgot that the tank was there. This unit, first of all, can this unit fire on that tank with his coaxial machine gun? Well, first of all, hold on. This Sherman wants to fire on this buttoned-up unit with his coaxial and bow machine gun. What happens when he fires the machine guns on this unit in that location?
Vehicular machine guns. Throw up a lot of spray. You hit the tank. Congratulations, but you do no damage.
What else happens?
Oh, okay. So I guess, yeah.
You do leave residual firepower. There will be no effect versus the vehicle for this coaxial machine gun.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah,
this coaxial machine gun fires on the tank too. He says, Sherman, get the hell out of the way. Let me show you what a man can do. And he fires his coaxial machine gun on this. Can he affect that tank?
That's his main armament, so yes.
It is.
But he would
not the coax.
Target type. He would have to announce he's going for the vehicular target type. I'm assuming he'd at least have to say, he'd have to say that.
In this case, if he's CE, which this tank probably should never be CE unless he's using road movement rate, why should this tank usually not be CE? The one-man turret Japanese tank should usually not be CE. Why?
Because if he tells the ground tank, he's going to be recalled.
And what other reason?
He can't fire. He can't fire.
He can't fire. He can't fire. So, unless he's busting us down the road, he does have 15 movement points. Unless he's busting us down the road. Let's say he was busting us down the road CE, and he says, oh shit, the hell with that. And then he buttons up, and then you take a shot at him here. You fire your coaxial machine gun. You probably almost always want to roll it to hit on this guy. Instead, like if he was CE, would you want to fire directly on the IFT or try to destroy the vehicle with your coaxial machine gun? Can you attack him on the coaxial machine gun? And Steve said yes, because it is your main armament. You may fire to kill. Obviously, the back of the counter kind of gives it away. But the same thing with this Japanese unit. This Japanese unit can fire on armor to try and destroy it because its main armament is a machine gun. Same thing with the Panzer I. So we were firing here. Do you want to fire it to hit on him? And what do we need to fire? Roll to hit on this guy. Let's say he expended 14 movement points in this location. And he's at that range. And we fire to hit. What do we need to hit him? +2 moving, right? Simple, right?
+2 moving. He's also, I think, at least a small target.
Small target, +3. We're CE, so we don't get the +1 for that. So we need a 7 to hit him, right?
Yeah.
Will you guys agree on that?
Yes.
Yeah, without smoke and nothing else. So we just need a little old 7 to hit. Of course, Mark bought it. And so we got a 6.
Right.
So we roll. We hit the vehicle. Where do we hit him? First and foremost, where do we hit him?
The hull.
Hull. What's the armor?
0.
0. We love hulls on the Japanese tanks. So, flipping on the backside of this counter, instead of firing on the MG table and destroying him on the MG table, what does this Mark 6B give us simply because we read the vehicle notes or flip the counter over?
We get to use the 12.7 table.
And
you then also, I think, get to use the MG table.
And the MG table. We get 2 to kill dice rolls, as the counter signifies. On the 12.7, which is the 5, and the 4 with a 0 armor. And then, of course, we get the penetration, which is going to increase that as well. So we would need a base 6 to kill and a base 5 to kill. 2 rolls to kill, to kill. He got double blasted on that one.
Mm-hmm.
So he got destroyed and then he got stunned. Which would have recalled him anyway, right? So let's say we rolled a 7 on the to kill chart. What happens then? Let's say if we rolled a 7 on the to kill chart, what would happen? We don't destroy him.
But you still have to resolve the attack on the I guess it would be a combined chart, so you'd look on the 8 chart.
Yeah, in this case, I don't know, but he would still be subject to the residual attack, right?
The collateral
attack. The collateral attack, yeah.
Right, from both guns. So,
right. Now, whether you use the first one or the second one, don't know. It might be in the vehicle notes.
I think it says. Generally, it says you choose which you choose which role to take.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me I can pull that up.
But this is something where you would have to, because this would come up, right, gentlemen? Just like if the coaxial machine gun of the Japanese tank were to fire on the British tank, you would collateral attack on the 2 chart because it's got 2 firepower. Now this one here, it's got 10 firepower, but which dice roll do you use? The vehicle notes should, or the rules, I don't think the rules show it, but the vehicle notes should describe
it. The vehicular notes, in the vehicular notes for the Mark 6, it says, when using the 8 kill table, make 2 to kill die rolls, 1 each on the 12.7 and MG columns. Only 1 die roll, firer's choice, is used.
Okay. So you roll 2 dice and you get to pick it. So once you pick that roll, then that roll also applies on the 10, in this case the 8 column, of the infantry fire table as collateral attack versus the CE crew. So this guy is badass versus low armor. This guy should get really, really good. Plus it has a rate of fire of 1. Very, very, it's a good distinction. Thanks, Mark, for looking that up. That's a really good distinction. So this guy kicks everyone's ass when it talks about collateral attacks. And so if we rolled a 7, what would the result be on this? If we roll a 7 firing on the to kill table? The 7's the best roll we got.
Well, that would be 9 on the 8, so that would be a pin check.
Why is it 9 on the 8 again, Mark?
Because you still, in the end, have to take the +2 for the CE status.
+2 from the CE dice roll modifier, so that'd be a pin task check. He fails the pin task check. What happens?
The Japanese tank buttons up immediately.
He simply buttons up. Doesn't stop, doesn't get stunned, simply buttons up.
In which case, he might thank you, because now we can fire.
Exactly. Thanks, Mark. Pull out Snake Eyes. His Snake Eyes bounding fire at long range.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Okay. What is the range of this main armament here? What is the range of this vehicle?
12.
12 standard range. The main armament here, what's the range of this main armament on the Sherman?
The main armament is effectively
unlimited.
Yeah, whatever you want to fire it at. Okay, 12.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't fire on the to kill table if you're subject to like long range fire. I believe. It might be 16. Double check this. This might be. No, well, it's scopes. It's scopes. Yeah. That's concealment. Yeah, 12 firepower. It's still a CMG. Yeah. So very tricky.
Right. I don't think you can fire at 13 to 16 hexes because in order to get a hit on,
it can't be halved.
It can't be halved.
Yeah. Well, well, the regular machine gun can't be halved. There's still a main armament. You're still firing on it to hit, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, in SK, support weapon machine gun.
Support weapon machine gun can't fire at long range, but this, I think it's just limited to 12 hexes. So again, something else that you want to check out: machine gun, the main armaments versus vehicles. I'd have to look that up just to make sure. I don't want to give you guys disinformation on that. But the CMG obviously doesn't have infinite range because we know coaxial machine guns have a range of 12. So against concealment, something different. So we're not even going to touch with the concealment on that because you know what happened last week. No, just kidding. But so again, I just wanted to show you the Mark IV because this bad boy is also in the starter kit series. So this tank is just not like, oh, Stu's just bringing some bullshit out. This is a vehicle that's in starter kit 3.
Yeah, because it's used in Stand for New Zealand, S27.
Yeah, I don't know if there's enemy vehicles, but that's, I don't know.
No, there are no enemy vehicles.
Yeah,
in that one.
and there's probably a good reason because of just exactly what we covered. This adds a lot more thinking involved in terms of how many to kill dice rolls. Like Mark says, you roll 2, and you select the one.
Right.
So,
yeah, I think they they avoid it. So
they just exactly. So very interesting that effect, but very powerful versus CE units. Collateral damage, collateral attacks. Whether you have an HE shot against a Sherman, or not a Sherman, but an HE shot against the Tiger, very effective. This vehicle, this coaxial machine gun, this tank right here, far more effective in taking out this CE. Well, not far more effective, but if this tank fires AP against that tank, yeah, Tom, sure, Tom, Tom. Oh, is it locked? Somebody locked the door? I don't see Tom. Tom messaged me. I'm not sure. Tom Arnold. I don't know where he is. But so in comparison, if this unit fires AP against this tank, this Mark 6B has a better chance of affecting that tank than this AP shot from the Sherman. The HE shot from the Sherman has a better effect because of why? Because of the collateral attack of the HE round. It explodes on the 12 firepower on the IFT. So this would be a 12 firepower shot. This would be an 8 firepower shot. You think that this tank would be shit against this vehicle? It's pretty effective. It's pretty effective if that guy's CE. Pretty effective. Don't discount your vehicles. Don't discount your vehicles. And reading your notes, understanding that the kill charts will help you do that. Okay, now we're going to do the easy one, gentlemen. Flammenwerfer.
Yeah.
Okay. American, where's my American? Where's that bastard? Okay, American wants to fire a flamethrower on the German vehicle. We're going to do a 747. Why am I choosing a 747 versus the 666?
Elite unit.
No penalty. Yeah.
I don't have to screw with the penalty. First line, second line, you got non-qualified use. Green, whatever. Non-qualified use, okay? Hero, oh no, hero. Can a leader fire the flamethrower?
Yes.
Unless he's a partisan.
Unless he's a partisan. He can fire. Even the partisan can fire it, but the partisan leader can't take it, Mark. The partisan will be considered non-qualified use. So thank you.
I couldn't resist that one.
Yeah, thank you. It's important because I didn't even learn that until about 2 months ago. I've been playing this game for 8,000 years. So, flamethrower, range of 1. Can the flamethrower attack the tank right here when he's moving? Can he attack the tank right here if the Tiger's moving? He says, I don't give a shit about you, flamethrower. Why should I care? Can he attack him? Does he have to roll a hit?
Yeah.
I'd say yes, he can attack him.
Yes, but his to kill number is half.
Yeah.
His to kill number is half, exactly, because it's long range. Kind of odd compared to the other ones, right? Like a machine gun can't fire if it's out of range, if it's half firepower. Flamethrowers are bad news to tanks. So a flamethrower to kill number, if you look on the HE and flame to kill table, I have no clue what the hell that looks like on the SK chart. It's probably the same.
Far right column, FT, and you have an 8 with an asterisk next.
8 with the asterisk. So if I were to try to attack this vehicle in that location, moving or not, what would I need to hit? What would I need to kill?
Is the hit automatic?
The hit is not applicable. We just attack it.
Yep.
Straight up shot, people. No to hit. We're just flaming him. Whoosh. Range of 2. What is the to kill? Like John was
4.
pointing out. Kills a 4. This vehicle is CE. What is the to kill?
5.
5. Do we stun him if we roll a 5? If we roll exactly what the to kill number is, do we stun this tank or immobilize him or shock him?
No, you eliminate him.
How'd you find that out, Mark?
Again, on our magic little AFV destruction table.
AFV destruction table.
Column for FT.
FT. Do you guys see that? It's right next to the MG. MG is burn, eliminate, stun. Flamethrower is, well, burn, which doesn't apply in SK. So in SK charts, it should be eliminate, eliminate, eliminate.
Yep. Well, it's eliminate, NA.
Yeah.
In the SK.
Yeah. So it just kills it.
Yeah,
It doesn't screw around with anything. You either die or you get to live another day. Now he goes adjacent. He says, I don't care. I think that guy's not qualified because I forgot the rule. And so this guy rolls up adjacent to him. And he didn't. Now he's going to first fire. So I'm going to first fire.
You did forget one other thing that's very important to remember about a flamethrower.
What was that?
Is that the armor factor does not apply.
Does not apply. AF. Do you see AFNA?
Yep.
AFNA. Where is it? It does not have it. Surprise, surprise. On the SK chart.
Well, it does. It says in FP, you say 8-star, and the star says have the fusing long range.
Oh, yeah. Armor factor not used. I'm looking at my chart over here. It says Molotov and Molotov projectors. So fire doesn't care what type of armor you're in.
Correct. So that Tiger tank is in a world of trouble right now.
So what do we need to kill the Tiger? No to hit roll. We just flame him. What do we need?
9.
9. Even with MarkBot 3.0.
You might have a chance. There
7.
you go.
Now, if we roll a 10, what happens? We don't destroy him.
The CE crew would still be taking. If you roll a 10, the CE crew would take a 12 on the 24 table. So he'd still have to take a normal morale check.
A 12 on the 24 for what?
Well, if you roll a 10.
A 10.
Okay, so if it rolls a 10 on its to kill. Then the Tiger tank survives, but the CE crew still has to take a 24. Oh, does it have to take a 24 plus 2, or is it just 24?
24.
24
Straight up
even.
24. Yep.
Straight up 24. Okay, yeah, because flamethrowers disregard practically every modifier, I think, except smoke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, smoke is just a hindrance. And what else happens? We rolled a 10. He takes a 1 check. He passes because he's a badass morale level 9.
The FT goes off the board because he just ran out of gas.
There you go. FT's gone. You still apply the attack, but the flamethrower's gone.
Yep.
And now the 747 just crapped his pants. So he had a good chance. He's feeling good. He got a 1 morale check on him, but that's all she wrote. So that's a flamethrower. Pretty straightforward, right? No to hit, 2 hex range, half to kill. If they're CE, you got to need a 5 to kill him. Doesn't matter if he's moving or not. Hindrances apply. If he's 2 hexes away over here, the hindrance will apply. If there's smoke between you and he, the hindrance will apply. If you're smoking either 1 hex, the hindrance will apply. Okay? You don't want to be smoked. Again, if the enemy has a flamethrower, you might want to use your Mark IV over here with the smoke 9 to smoke smoke that guy. All right? Smoke him first in case you want guys to move up. Now, you're still going to be taking a 24 plus 4. Still not bad, but you're not going to be just KIA. That will almost eliminate the KIA potential of that unit in terms of infantry charging this guy. So you don't want to screw with flamethrowers. Smoke them or avoid them. Or if you know your enemy never wants to use them because he's scared of rolling a 10, then you just charge him. And then you really demoralize him when he rolls a 10, and then you just play a mental game at that point. But I'll use that sucker anytime. You guys play me, I'm burning the first thing that comes across. If a rat crosses my path, our guys are hungry, man. This is the Russian steppes. We've been out here for 2 years fighting. I'm eating that rat. So flamethrowers pretty simple, right, guys? Okay, let's go to the real fun one, demo charge.
Oh God.
This is one that no one ever gets right. I mean, I don't even know what the hell I'm doing here. So make sure I don't make too many mistakes on this one.
Okay. Yeah, I think I've managed to actually successfully attack a tank once with a DC.
Okay, Mark kind of summed it all up right there. So
Yeah.
here we are here. We're not gonna. I don't think we could throw it in SK. So what we're gonna do is we're going to go into close combat with this tank. That is the Russian player turn. I am going to advance in there. Before I advance in there, what must happen?
Patsy.
Patsy. So what do we need for a Patsy on this unit here? The 447. Let's make him an engineer. Actually, let's make him a 447. I don't really care. 447. What's he need to go jump on that Tiger? Pre-FE task check. Straight up, right? Just a regular task check. So let's say, assume he rolls a 7. Right. So if that was a conscript, he'd have to roll a 1 pre-AFV task check. So conscripts are more difficult, but we gotta go. So pre-AFV task check. Since it's a vehicle, if we have a stack of guys, okay, we got a stack of dudes. Let's say we got a -1 leader, because the Russians don't have good enough leaders to have anything better than a -1. Squad, single man counter. Give it to me. I'm gonna give you a 8-1. That's the best leader we got in 30 miles. Okay, the leader is exempt from a pre-AFE task check. The leader can just say, essentially, he's gonna go last. If he's gonna go, so I'm just going. He doesn't have to take a pre-AFE task check. He could just say, screw it, screw you guys, I'm going by myself. Boom. Okay, he's got his own close combat value. I think we covered that last week. If you want to look at the close combat value, we can go over that again. But we're going to go with PFE task check. He says, your guys want to attack, and you want to jump on the tank. First of all, the leader can add his modifier to help you in your pre-FE task check, right? Just leadership, but that's your modifier, right? Pretty simple. So, what does the top unit need to roll to jump on that tank?
Needs to roll a 9.
9 or a -1 leader, 7 morale.
Okay, so yeah, so right, so the squad, right, okay, okay, I guess my first the first thing I'd say is that my impression is that demo charges are placed not during the close combat phase, but they are placed as they are normally placed on the tank during the movement phase.
Right. Well, okay. I'm going close combat for pre-AFE task check, just for the shits and giggles.
Right. But so you're in the Russian movement phase. That's when you're actually placing the AFV, placing the demo charge. You don't place a demo charge during the close combat phase.
Right. But let's go with the pre-FE task checks since we got the leader, and then we'll do the demo charge.
Right. But the squad, if he wants to try to place the demo charge on the tank, he has to specify that he's doing that.
Right.
He has to PAATC.
Right.
And if he passes, then it gets even more confusing.
Right. So let's do this. Let's put some units in. Where my units are?
Right.
So if he wants to place the demo charge, we'll go back. If he wants to place the demo charge in the hex, is there something that he has to do to attack the AFV? Because the demo charge is going to blow up, right?
Correct. Right. He has to. Yes. Right. The squad has to take a PAATC in order to attempt to place the demo charge on the tank.
Okay, and then so let's just say he places the demo charge in the hex. Is there a difference between that or placing it on the tank?
Oh yeah,
the DC position die roll.
Die roll. Yeah, that is the next thing, right? Once he passes the PAATC and he survives all fire and everything else, blah 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 blah, that you normally have to take if you're placing a DC. Right. Then you have to make that right. Then you have to place a DC position. Yeah. Then you have to.
Yeah, but back up just a second. Back up to 1 second. So for us to try to blow up the tank, we have to pass the PAFE task check.
Correct.
If we want to place the demo charge in the hex without, quote, blowing up the tank, attacking the tank directly, we don't have to worry about that. We can just place it. We don't have to do a pre-AFE task check. So there are 2 ways to place the demo charge. You can select, and if you want to place it versus the vehicle directly so it can blow up, you must specify the vehicle as the target of your attack. Now, the other units in the hex will be attacked collaterally, as well as the CE crew, but for you to blow up the tank, you must specify the tank, so therefore you must pass the pre-FE task check.
Correct,
if you don't take the patsy, well, I hate to call it patsy, but if you don't take that check, then you're just placing a demo charge like normal, like a infantry units. It's going to blow up. What's the effect versus going to be the infantry and the exposed passenger rider crew?
You roll on the 30 table and you apply the appropriate modifiers based on whatever. So the
Right.
CE crew would get a +2, and whereas the infantry in this particular case, since I think they're in open ground, they wouldn't get it.
Well, we'll get the tank. Let's say the tank's not moving.
Right, but the
Well,
tank
yeah.
itself, but the tank itself would not take any damage whatsoever.
Yes, the tank will be immune to the demo charge attack. The vulnerable crew, if he was buttoned up, the tank will not be affected. Only the infantry will be destroyed. Now, again, going to the point, we want to attack the tank directly. We want to put the demo charge in the tracks and blow that son of a bitch up because he's impossible to kill. We pass our pre-FE task check of 8 or less because we have a -1 leader, which can apply his leadership modifier to our task check.
Mm-hmm.
Good lord. Okay, there's our 8. So we then can apply and expend the movement factors, get fired upon. We succeed. We're not pinned or anything else or broken or whatever. So we drop that against the AFV. Now we look at the fun and exciting.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the goddamn thing is, to be honest with you. DC placement versus AFV dice roll, the least used chart in the entire game.
Yeah. I've literally used it once.
So if there's a crap load of modifiers on here. There's motion non-stopped. There's CX versus U. There's target AFV CE. Place through front facing, place through whole rear facing, and mobile AFV target. They're just modifiers. You simply look them up, and we're going to apply those to the placement dice roll modifier. Obviously, if the tank's moving, it's harder to throw the demo charge on him. Obviously, if you're counter exhausted, harder to throw the demo charge on him. So if we're counter exhausted and he's in motion, if he's in motion, then it's going to be a +3 based on the dice roll modifiers, and that's going to affect our placement dice roll. If he's immobile, obviously he'll be a little easier. If he's placed in the rear target facing, obviously he probably can't see us or he's more vulnerable because the armor's worse. And if he's CE, if he's CE, why is the CE a +1? Everything else CE, you're -1, OBA and all that bullshit. Why is the CE harder to place the demo charge against him?
As commander, he could swivel around as he goes.
Yeah, you can see. You say, hey, start this tank up. Let's go. This guy's trying to throw a demo charge at us. So it's harder to place a demo charge versus a CE tank. So our guy's buttoned up. He's not moving, not nothing. We roll our placement dice roll. This is gonna be the other. Let me clear his crap off. Dice roll. I roll a 7. What happens?
Since he is not in motion or anything of that sort, it's just a straight shot. Congratulations, you actually get the use armor factor.
Okay.
Which of course means, well, which armor factor do you use?
Right. So we go on we have the AFV destruction table, right? So look at your AFV destruction table. Well, that's just for the demo charge to see how it differs. It's pretty much the same as a direct fire and bomb attack. Pretty much the same results, but no possible shock. So you go HE and flame to kill table because it's a high explosive. It's going to blow up. What is the basic armor to kill number of a demo charge?
16.
16. So if we placed it in the rear, right? Because that's does it say use the rear full strength? Yep. So if we place it during the rear target facing, or let's say rear side, we should get the rear side target facing, correct?
That is my impression, yes.
And if you place it in the front, you get the place in the front. I don't know if the placement dice roll, I got to be honest with you, has a turret or hull difference on those. I would assume that it would, because if I rolled a 7, that would theoretically place it in the hull. It doesn't even have a rule reference on the rule, which is another reason why I hate the SK charts. It should always.
If you look in the demo charge section 4.3, says the DC position die roll also serves as the hit location die roll.
Okay, perfect. Sort of like mortars, which is what we're going to get to next. And so we rolled a 7 on the placement dice roll. So where on that vehicle would that demo charge be placed with our dice roll of 7 with no modifiers?
Where we placed it, it would be in the rear hull.
Rear hull, okay. So is there any significance of being in a rear?
You get an additional +1 to your to kill number.
Right. Additional +1 to kill numbers, which makes it a 17. What is the armor of that Tiger tank on the rear?
8.
Okay. We roll it to kill. We roll a 6. What happens?
Boom.
Tiger dies.
What else happens?
Well, the Tiger dies, so obviously you don't have to worry about the crew at all. But I believe it is a collateral attack on the 2 squads that are also there.
Okay. What chart? And what's the effect on the 2 squads?
That would be probably a 7 on the 30, because the squads would probably get the +1 for the tank.
Sounds good. So the result would be a 3 morale check on the units in there. Now, although this chart doesn't list it, it simply doesn't list it. The rules may say something differently, gentlemen. If I recall correctly, and I probably don't, if there are enemy infantry units in that hex, it has a tendency to make it more difficult to place the demo charge, but don't hold me to it. So I actually honestly haven't read those demo charge rules in starter kit. Whether or not it mentions that, I wholeheartedly advise you to read those sections, because I don't want to have to, unless somebody wants to read it right now and give us an update.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. So in the DC placement chart, there are no modifiers.
Yeah, so it doesn't say it on the DC placement chart, but that has a tendency to ring a bell. But I may be wrong in that. So demo charge, just don't forget the collateral attack. I assume that the collateral attack still applies again. So it's bad news when a demo charge blows things up. It's kind of hard to blow up the tanks with a lot of armor. I mean, 16's not bad, right? So there was a small chance that we couldn't blow that up, especially if it was during the front of the armor and we hit the hull. So then it would be a 14, and our to kill is 16. So a demo charge placed on the front, and we got a turret attack. It's really not going to affect the tank anyway. So less effective than our flamethrower, gentlemen. You think a demo charge will blow the living crap out of it, but it's less effective versus from the demo charge, unless you get like a rear or side, or it's got real crappy armor or things like that. So or it's like a Panzer4, it's got like a 6, so you're pretty much going to blow that up. So a Tiger, still difficult to destroy with a demo. Still difficult. It's not a done deal. Plus you have to do a pre-FE task check. You got to survive defensive fire, and he's going to fire on you. And then you've got to do the placement dice roll. Lots of weird variables come in to get a kind of just a meh attack with the demo charge. I would much rather just use that demo charge like on a machine gun nest or some shit like that. But hey, if you blow it up, that's a big deal. This is like a bucket list. I don't even think I've ever thrown. I think maybe one time I threw a demo charge on a tank, and I think
I have actually managed to get 1 kill.
Right.
I've done it precisely once.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it doesn't happen all that often because simply, you got to get close to it, right? I mean, you simply got to get close to a tank. That's hard to do. All right. Last weapon that I know of that I think is the mortar. I think we covered this before, but we're going to do it against this little vehicle right here. All right. So our mortar fires on the what chart to attack this vehicle?
I'm sorry. I do want to kind of just roll back to the demo charge.
Oh yeah, demo charge. Yeah, what'd you find out?
You may not. Okay, in this example where you specifically targeted the AFV as the vehicle,
okay,
as the target, you may not get a collateral attack in SK on those 2 squads.
Right,
okay?
But you do get it against the CE unit.
Well, it says right. So it's 7.12 in starter kit says an attack with an MMC's inherent firepower or a machine gun FT attack that does not specifically target an AFV, or an attack using the ITT cannot affect an AFV, only its CE crew. An attack using the ATT or VTT that hits an AFV but does not destroy, shock, or stun it may also affect the CE crew collaterally.
Right.
Because if you look at the DC placement chart, if you didn't roll like an 8, you rolled like a 12.
Right.
It's area attack versus non-armored units only. So there may be something about if you roll badly, if you do destroy the tank, you may not get a collateral attack against the infantry. If you roll, however, you get a bad attack, you get a bad DC placement roll, then you might get an area attack versus the unarmored units only. So I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure whether
that's true. The non-armored unit, that's kind of weird. Yeah. Because there are no trucks in SK.
It's basically like you dropped it in the area, didn't actually put it on the tank, so it's going to hit everybody else.
Yeah, that's kind of my impression. So
you know what? That actually might be an area attack versus the exposed crew, the collateral.
Right. Yeah. So it says if you roll 9 to 11, it says full strength attack versus CE crew only using a new die roll, and it says and greater than 12 is area non-armored units only.
That's kind of weird. Okay.
That if you specifically with a demo charge, if you specifically target the vehicle, then whatever result happens depends on the DC placement, on who exactly gets attacked or whatever.
Okay.
Everybody gets attacked.
So if you botch the roll, you get to attack the infantry, which seems kind of weird. But exactly. So the placement dice roll.
That's the placement. I can't. There's one thing I can't resolve, and I apologize for doing this.
No, not at all. Not at all.
We keep thinking that the attacking infantry, the guys that are carrying this DC, are in the same hex as the tank.
No, we're placing it. We're placing it like normal DC placement. And then Jason hex, we spend 2 movement factors and we place the demo charge.
Fine. Got it. Okay. Yeah. Now that's okay. But I thought we were saying earlier that if the attacking infantry would be subject to a attack by the DC once it went off.
No.
Okay. No. I had that wrong.
No, that's okay. Wrong. That's okay. No, I probably confused you on that. So that's on me.
I was start off that we were going to go into close combat with it. And then we rolled it back.
Yeah, we rolled back the pre-FE task check and all that other crap. So to target the tank directly, you must specify, just like a flamethrower, I'm attacking the tank. And so if you attack the tank, for the most part, anything else in the hex is not going to be affected. But apparently, if you gack your placement roll of a 12 or more, like if he's moving and he's got CE and your CX, and he's in front, that's like a +5 in and of itself. So most likely, you're just kind of like, it's going to be area attack versus everyone in the hex. So you don't get a 30 on everyone else because you made a shitty roll. It probably bounced on the tank and flung up in the air, and maybe it hit a track and threw it 50 feet up in the air or something like that. But again, kind of odd. It's a rule that I always have to look up 15 times, even if I want to even attempt it. And most of the time people don't, because they don't want to have to bother with the rule, which I can see. But it could be confusing. I invite you to definitely read up on that.
As I said, I'd be careful about it. As I said, I've only done it once and got lucky. So
exactly. So going with the pre-FE task check, it's before we get to the mortar, which would be the last thing. The thing about the pre-FE task check, sending your infantry in there. We know what their close combat values are. You can look on the close combat chart and see what the modifiers might be if he's in motion, the whole 9 yards. But when you have a stack of units and you want to send them all in the hex, the leader usually on the bottom says, go, 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 go. You do not have to pre-designate how many you're trying to roll. But if the guy rolls, say, okay, I'm going to try to attack a task check. There's my task check, 12. He doesn't get to go. Next guy, he's going to try a task check, 5. He passed. He must decide then and there to go. So he's going to go before this guy gets to roll. And this guy rolls a 3, he gets to go. And the leader can decide to go whether he wants to or not because he's immune to PFE task checks. But as you pass the checks, you don't have to pre-designate them all. But when you pass it, you can't wait for everyone else to pass for you to go. You simply go. You're not waiting for anyone. You've got to take that advantage and go, 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 go. And so you can't wait. Like let's say if you had a half squad and he's the only one that made it, right? Well, the half squad just goes by himself. And at that point, again, because the leader doesn't have to pass a PFE task check, does he want to go to the half squad or not? Probably not. Let him get screwed. You know?
Wow.
Well, I told you to wait. I told you to wait. You know, sort of thing.
Leadership for you. Yeah. Leading from the rear.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I want to come up with. The basic way of infantry moving into the hex there is when you do your PFE task checks, because that's why I put a stack of guys here. You don't have to pre-designate them, but when you say I'm going to press PFE task check, boom, I'm gone. I make it, I'm gone. I make it, I'm gone. Then the leader can decide to go. Or he can just sit there because you've got, 3 more squads showing up somewhere, and he maybe wants to do the same thing for another unit. Maybe he's immobile or something like that. I don't know. Who knows? But again, before you have the tanks, kind of redo the PFE task checks, because if you play a lot of infantry like me, you're not going to be quite as familiar with that. It's easy to forget, but it just takes 2 seconds to scan those rules. Oh, okay, PFE task check, no pre-designated, this, that, and just reread them real quickly, and then you're good to go. All right? And it doesn't take long at all. Your buddy's coming over, he's 30-minute drive or whatever. Just scan those couple sections, highlight them, tab them, and you're ready to go. And then what happens then is the more you refresh yourself on the rules in those vehicles every single time, by the 5th or 6th or 7th game, you're going to be an anti-tank god. You're going to know what's going to destroy them. So mortars. Let's see how I can screw up mortars. Our mortar's going to fire at... Let's get all this crap out of the way. Here we go. We got our enemies bearing down on a German mortar right here. Actually, I'm going to put them up here, so it's a little less cluttered. All right, mortars to destroy. Let's get rid of this info. Let's zoom in a little bit. So, obviously the range is 2, so they have to be a range. So the mortar fires on the vehicles moving, so we need to fire to hit. We fire on the area target type, right? Because it's a mortar. Can the mortar affect these vehicles? And how can they affect either one of these vehicles? Mortar fires on the Japanese unit, and it gets it to hit. And he rolls to hit. We see, hit. We 6. We got a hit. No rate. So does that hit the vehicle? If he's moving towards us, does that hit the vehicle? You can pull out your to hit chart. Area target type, right? For German 50 millimeter. That's a 50 star. Yep, 7. So you need base 7, right? What applies to area target types? Small target? Does that apply?
Yes.
Okay. Small target? Moving target? Does that apply?
Yes.
Okay. Does anything else apply that you guys think might apply? Fire, you're not pinned, you're not firing the advanced fire phase.
Yeah, I don't think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah,
so
that's about it, right? That's about it. Target base is pretty much moving and small target. So a 6 would be a miss, because a 7 is what the base to hit number is. We need a 4 to hit this vehicle. Let's say he wasn't moving. Let's say nobody's moving. He's just standing there. A 6 will hit the vehicle because he's a small target, and we need a base 7 to hit. So nobody's moving. It's our turn. We're firing. When we fire, a 6 will hit the vehicle. What happens when we hit that vehicle with our little 50 millimeter mortar? Well, check on the AFV destruction table. Okay. Area target type would be a 3. Okay. Because you look at it, if you wanted to try and destroy it, where we resolve the mortars. Do we resolve the mortars on the vehicle to kill? Or where? Infantry fire table. IFT. Using what for this 50 millimeter mortar, John?
Area target type, so half the firepower.
Right. So half of 6 would be 3. So this mortar will be trying to impact and destroy that vehicle on the 2 chart. The American 60 millimeter mortar we'll try to be destroying it on the 4 chart. Okay, because the 60 millimeter got a base 8, and so you half that, so it's 4. So it's a little bit more oomph on it, but we're going to use the 50 because you're going to see the 50 more often, most likely. Most likely. Yeah, you never know. And you might do the 51 millimeter British mortar, same sort of thing. So we've got the IFT. What the hell does that mean? So we roll on the IFT chart. Oh, not a snake eyes because it's not marked. It's all a 6. We roll a 6. So that was a miscue, a glitch in the system. So 6. Does a 6 have any effect, and how do we know? Well, looking on your destruction table, right? Look on your destruction table because it's confusing because you got morale checks, normal morale check, pin check, K1. You got all that shit on the IFT. It's not a simple number like the to kill. So we look on the IFT, what we're looking for, and then when you look on the AFV destruction table, area target type, what eliminates it? So elim, what kills it? There's no to kill number.
KIA. KIA result.
A K, or if it's less than the K, or KIA. I'm not sure if it's less than what's less than K, man. It doesn't make sense. So if it's less than the K, wow, that's kind of weird.
Well, it says if it's less than
less than a 1 KIA.
Yeah. So that less than only is for the TK number versus a K or 1 KIA.
Okay.
Well, except the CCV doesn't make any sense because you roll less than CCV, you're eliminated.
Yeah.
You roll less.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward.
Yeah, that's not the best.
It's kind of wonky way they got this set up.
That is weird.
I don't know. I can't find the relevant chart, but in the rules 7.11, it says a final KIA result destroys the AFE, and a final DR resulting in a K / pick a number or 1 greater than a K number shocks the AFE on a turret hit and immobilizes on a hull hit.
Yeah, that's probably. I'm not sure the deal with that. That's kind of weird. Less than eliminate. Oh yeah. Okay, that's less than the K equals the K. Okay, because they had to eliminate the burn. That's what they did. They eliminated the less than or equal to. But why is it less than K? Oh, less than the what?
Yeah, maybe that is like if you roll less than a K number, to a certain extent it's less than the K number.
Right. So why would they have the 1 KA on there anyway? So
yeah, I'm not sure why
let's go the opposite direction, gentlemen. Let's go the opposite direction. So the first thing happens, is it HE? First of all, is our mortar high explosive?
Yes.
Okay. How do you know that?
German mortar only fires HE. It has no smoke.
It has an overscore on the 50, right? That means it's only HE. Okay. So if when in doubt, look at the gun type, 50 overscore asterisk. So it's only HE. So that's a clue in and of itself. If you don't know, if your guy says I don't think so, it's AP, whatever. My buddy told me it was this way. And you say no, it only fires HE. So therefore, it's not the non-HE, an HE1 greater than the final to kill number / K. So forget the kill number. If it's 1 greater than the K number on the IFT, then it would be what? What would happen? Let's say on our to hit of 6 right there, 2 and a 4. If you roll a 2 and a 4, that hits it, right? And then let's say, the to hit is 6, sorry. And so the IFT of snake eyes, eliminate the snake eyes. So the hit is 5. So the 5 and the 1 means it's going to hit what part of the tank? On the to hit shot. If I rolled a 5-1, it's going to hit the turret or the hull? The hull. Because the 5 is greater than the 1, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it hits the hull. So, and let's say we rolled a 3 for the resolution. So it's 1 greater than the K number. So we rolled a 3 on the resolution. 1 greater than the K number. There are other modifiers. We'll get to those in a second. I know you guys are jumping on. If it's 1 greater than the K number on the area target type, what happens?
Immobilization.
Immobilization, because we hit the hull or an automatic shock if we hit the turret. Okay?
Yep.
Now, look at the vehicle. The vehicle has what type of armor? Shit armor, right?
Yes, yeah. We're firing what? We're firing at the Mark 6.
Yeah. Well, either way, that's Mark 6 or either one. They're both the same. So
Yeah, they're both the same, yeah.
and then if you look under area target type, it has like a little 3 superscript.
Yep.
So use original infantry fire table for hit location, which it should be the to hit chart. I'm not sure why it does that. All armor factors less than or equal to 4, which applies because they both have 0, and the Mark 6 has 1 and 1, so all of the armor factors are less than 4. So that means a -1 to kill dice roll modifier, which is kind of weird because you're not using it on the to kill chart. It's just a infantry fire table dice roll modifier. Again, that's
kind of
that's kind of wonky. It's not applicable because you're using the infantry fire. Jesus Christ, what a fiasco! But so you get a -1 if all of his armor is 4 or less, which is pretty much your early war, right? So if we rolled a 4, a 4 on the infantry fire table, would there be a result? It's on the 2 column. We dice it out. We roll a 4, and I say, shit, it's not a K. But what did we roll? The armor comes into play.
Because you got the -1 modifier, so you're now 1 greater than the K number. So you do in fact get either an immobilization or a shock, depending on position.
Because it has crappy armor, we get a -1. So if we rolled a 4, it turned into a 3. And on the AFV destruction table under area target type, because mortars always fire area target type, rate of fire 3, then that's the HE1 greater than the K number, which is the first 1 morale check. So in that case, we do get an immobilization or shock. Now, if it had normal armor, like the Panzer IV, right? Since all of the armor factors are not 4 or less, it would just be no modifiers. So we'd have to roll a 3 to get the immobilization or shock. Right?
Yep.
And if we roll a 2, what happens?
If you roll a 2, it is in fact
hit.
No, I'm sorry. If we it's
roll a 2 on your IFT.
No, 2 on the IFT, not on the hit. If we roll 2 on the IFT, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, so if our first roll IFT is a 2, what happens to the vehicle? On the area target type for this particular vehicle, if we roll a 2.
Well, on that particular target type, it'd be on the Mark IV or on the Japanese tank.
Let's say the Mark IV.
All right, on the Mark IV, that's a 2, unmodified 2 because the armor factors, because the 6 armor factors greater than a 4, so you don't get the -1.
Right.
So you do a 2 on the 2, which is a K/1, which is equal to the K number, so it's an immobilization or a shock, depending on where the position was. Yeah.
Right. So for mortars, you're looking at the K value, and the first morale check past the K value will immobilize or shock, regardless what vehicle it is. If those are your final results, your K or 1 above the K, that is immobilization or shock for your mortars. Now, the only modifiers you would get to make it easier is if the armor factors are, all of them are 4 or less, which we did before, so that's a -1 to that dice roll, which means we would need a 4 to have an effect. And against the German tank, we would need a 3 for an effect because it's got a 0 modifier, because not all of its armor factors are less than 4. Now, if we had the Tiger, where's that Tiger hide? No, I think they blew it up. Shoot. So the Tiger has 11 and 8, right?
All of its factors are greater than or equal to 8. You have to add 1 to your IFT die roll.
So what will we need to roll to affect a Tiger tank?
You would have to roll Snake Eyes.
Okay, on what? On the to kill on the IFT, right?
Right, you have to roll Snake Eyes in the IFT, because then that 2 turns into a 3, which is still 1 greater than the K number, which gives you a immobilization or shock.
Right. So here's our Tiger here. It's a bunch of armor, still hard to destroy, sort of like a demo charge, still hard to destroy. You need to roll a lot lower than that. If their CE doesn't make a difference, I don't see anything on there. It should be. If it's CE, what happens? Are there any modifiers for CE? Well, first thing should come to mind, if he's CE and we fired a high explosive round on him and we didn't blow up the tank, what's the first thing come to mind?
Collateral attack against CE crew.
Collateral attack. As long as you pop directly into the collateral attack mode, you're going to get that extra modifier. And most of the time it won't apply. But because mortars need so low to destroy shit, if I roll, you know, if I roll a 4 and nothing happens against the Tiger, you're going to add the +2 for the crew exposed. And so it could be a pintastic versus the crew. You can still affect the crew. Okay. He should still pin or fail a morale check or something like that. But most of the time, if you're dealing with like the early war shit, you're just gonna immobilize it. And if you immobilize it, let's say you do roll a 4 versus the Japanese tank, or let's say against the Mark IV. You roll a 4 against the Mark IV or Mark VI, right? The British tank. He's CE, so it's going to be -1. That's the kill dice roll modifier. So maybe that's where it comes into play. But you could still get a 1 morale check on the exposed crew, possibly. Well, I don't know if the -1 applies to that. I think it's just on the to kill roll, the final to kill roll. That's kind of weird. But yeah, but the exposed, the exposed guys, we're not gonna have the modifier, but the exposed guys will have the +2 as normal collateral attack. Your to kill roll will be the -1. So again, most of the time you're just gonna blow up the tank or have no effect versus it. Now on your 4 chart, because when you have American mortars firing, they're firing a little bit higher firepower. So your CE units, if you roll a 4 and your 4 is not good enough to kill it or immobilize it, then adding 2 will make it a normal morale check. So your American mortars, your 60mm mortars, or even 80mm mortars, if you have mortars in your game, will have a much higher effect on the CE crew, but their to kill is almost the same, right? Their to kill is nearly the same.
Yeah,
you know, it's
sure.
I mean, because you're looking at K, and the one value above the K for the immobilization or shock, and that's the demystifying thing about mortars in destroying vehicles. Is you're looking at K, essentially K and K+1, or KIA. Everything else doesn't matter, but everything else, it still does, you know, area target type damage against collaterally, because you're using the area target type. So. Any questions on that? That's kind of wonky. Mortars can be very effective. I mean, like you say, the mortar could take out the tank just as effectively as our 75mm Sherman. The 50mm mortar has about the same chance of taking out that tank than the 75 if he's buttoned up. He still needs a super low roll, but he has a higher rate of fire, so technically he'll have more shots. So technically the mortar is slightly more effective. Excuse me. But I wanted to just, again, we covered it before, reiterate the number of armor factors that each armor that you have, and the lower it goes down, just like MGs, the lower the value of the armor, the much more susceptible it is to the, quote, weaker weapons. You know, mortars can easily wipe these guys out. Machine guns, because of their high rate of fire, can easily wipe those guys out. You know? So... rate of fire 3, you miss the first shot, you probably have rate. Fire again at -1. You know, if you miss again, you might have rate. Fire again at -2. Pretty effective. Pretty effective. Every once in a while, you'll pop them, and you'll be happy. It'll be kind of fun. You know, because if all the infantry are like in buildings, right? Like in Lego Patria Nostra, if they're on buildings, I mean, there's nothing's going to happen. Yeah, you'd be better off firing at these tanks than firing at infantry in buildings. So, pretty effective. Pretty effective there. Any questions on anything we covered tonight, gentlemen? There's a lot of shit that can destroy tanks. We covered bazookas, Panzerfaust, Piats, ATRs, demo charges, flamethrowers, infantry, mortars, and other vehicles. Other vehicles have coaxial machine guns, which you wouldn't normally think would be able to kill the tank. But because it's the main armament, it has the ability to attack to hit chart on vehicles. It's not going to affect much because it has to affect weak vehicles, obviously, but it still can make an impact if you're early war or fighting against very weak tanks. So a lot of stuff happens in for the anti-tank. Close combat values for infantry, firing, moving firing, backblast, not taking backblast. That's all situational whether or not you want to apply that +2 or not. It's pretty risky, but obviously your 8 morale units can take backblast better than your 6 morale units. I mean, that's just because you do one die roll on the one chart, you're going to be affected. You're going to be affected if you're not going to be affected, then you're just going to miss anyway, most likely. So if you're going to hit them, you're probably going to be taking a 1 morale check, if not a K. So
the comment I had is, and this goes back to the 50 cal. Is that considered the Modus is like the HMG in the American squads?
Yes.
There's the 612 HMG, right? And then there's the 816.
Okay.
So the 816 is your 50 cal, which would be your 12.7. And again, I'm not sure if it's listed in the back of the. It might be listed as fire on the to kill table at 12.7, but that won't be until starter kit 3, and that would be in the vehicle section. Let me look over in the back of that real quick. It probably doesn't have it listed. It might be in the SK3 rulebook in terms of MGs versus vehicles, but I don't know. Again, because the other modifiers. So yeah, I wish they wouldn't color on them. Color's just so much nicer. I don't see any machine guns listed at all. I only see the Russian mortar on that. But in terms of, again, I hate popping ASL, but the ASL, the 50 caliber is a 12.7. And most vehicles, in the vehicle notes, if it has an AA machine gun, it might say, AA is considered 12.7. You can fire to kill on 12.7. Some vehicles will have that. Maybe your scout cars, things like that. But those aren't until SK4. I think open top vehicles are introduced in SK4. There might be some open top vehicles in SK Expansion Pack 2 or something like that, the new one. But I'm not sure. I haven't checked it out yet. But most of the time, it will designate those machine guns as either being just MGs or 12.7, just like we have on the back of the British vehicle. If it doesn't have that distinction, I would just consider it a regular MG, unless specified otherwise. So,
okay.
But that's where I would go with that. Again, SK, it might be different, but I don't think the SK makes a distinction between the 50 cals. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they have that set up or not. But again, it's a good question.
Doesn't seem like it's really answered in SK.
They simply may not have created scenarios with 50 cals versus low armor vehicles.
That's my impression. Yes, I don't think there's any scenario. I mean, I can only think of like one scenario that even uses 50 cals, which is out of SK1.
Right.
I don't think I've ever encountered a 50 cal machine gun elsewhere in playing any SK game.
Right, a lot of
S4. Welcome back. I love that. That's one of my first tournament game in that scenario.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, S4, but that obviously doesn't have any vehicles in it because
no vehicles.
True. Yeah.
As I said, that's the only scenario I literally can think of in starter kit that uses a 50 cal machine gun.
Yeah. They probably dance around. They probably dance around that question.
Yeah, so they may not specifically say right because there just may not be not be a scenario that has a 50 cal machine gun in it with vehicles, so they may just not bother.
Right.
That's fine. Cool.
So, and that's tricky, to be honest with you, to do that, and simply because if they do have an HMG versus early war Japanese, which you might see later on, that's probably be defined in the in either the rules or in the scenario special rules. So that's a good question. That's a really good question.
An SSR somewhere if you do create a scenario with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've played just about every SK4 and EP2 scenario, and I've never had a 50 cal machine gun. So
right.
I just don't think It just doesn't show up very often.
Right. Well, that's a good question. Good question, though.
Yep.
So, any other questions, gentlemen? I mean, we covered a lot of stuff. I wanted to make sure that you cover the stuff here because Sherman, this will be the scenario of the month. I think it's a good. We talked about it a lot, and so you guys won't be quote unfamiliar with this particular scenario. I mean, although some of the victory conditions might be different, but a lot of the capabilities we've covered. So it shouldn't be going cold turkey into a particular game. But if you have any questions, like even during the month or something like that, if matter of fact, I got to put it up there soon. That if you have questions about anything, then just post it on the forum here, or contact anybody that might be online or might be playing a game. Everyone's, I'm sure, very conducive in getting you guys a good solid answer on that. And
so we need to look at Sherman Marches West for game of the month. Yeah,
I'll be posting that very very soon. I have no clue what the ASL one is, but I haven't seen any submissions for the ASL. I may just shit can that. I don't know. You figure there'd be more ASLers, but that's all right. No big deal. So again, flamethrowers. I'm not sure how often they're going to be in with tanks, but I just wanted to cover all the rules simply because they do have the rules in the SKs for flamethrowers versus vehicles. I don't know if that ever exists, but I kind of wanted to try to cover most of the things that can kill tanks and how to kill tanks. And so what do you guys think is the most effective anti-tank support weapon for an infantry unit? Just your opinion. Panzerfaust is pretty good. It's got a range of 3. It's problematic.
45, yeah, it has some problems.
It's problematic, but when it hits, it's hitting a big hole in it. Panzerschreck has a slightly more range, but can be gone on a 10, right? And you got to deal with backblast with both weapons, as long as the bazooka. The one thing about the bazooka and the Panzerschreck is that you can use them to scare tactic. Hey, I'm moving my bazooka up. You better start running, and you might be good for displacement. Your opponent might forget that if you're playing the Germans, he might forget that you have Panzerfausts. So if you want to scare him, saying, "Oh, I got a Panzerfaust," or maybe not, you don't mention it. If you want him to run away, you say, "Hey, I'm going to move my leader up here. I'm going to fire Panzerfaust at you." He might get scared, not knowing that you only need a 1. But hey, I've seen it happen before. Piet, not a bad weapon, can fire from cover. Very good weapon. You could stay in buildings and fire tanks all day long flying by you. Breakdown 10 is kind of rough. But hey, at least you get to repair it. Flamethrower, very effective. It's kind of like a Piet, but it's very effective. But it has a destruction value versus a breakdown number. And flamethrowers, flamethrowers kind of speak for themselves. Demo charges, probably more headache than they're worth, in my opinion. But if that's one way to blow up a problem child tank that's out there, then
yeah, sometimes that's probably your most effective tool in the early battles scenario.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is using it against that.
You got the demo charge, and that's your best. I think that's your best chance of besides. I think that's your best chance of taking out the KV2.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, the KV2. I think that's it.
But do you want to approach the KV2 from its covered arc, from its covered arc?
Do it
no. It's also rear-facing machine guns too. It's like,
exactly. It's hard to approach. Again, the demo charge is very hard to use against some vehicles, and a lot of early war vehicles have rear machine guns, especially Japanese. And so getting that demo charge, and if you misplace it, he's going to turn 150 point blank. Oh my God, you're just going to be wiped off the map. So that's a suicide. That's a suicide run there. But if you get it, if you get it, let me know, and you got to record that shit for posterity, because that's one hell of an attack. But I think the demo charges are the hardest to do.
Morning Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. Demo charges are the hardest to do because you got to survive defensive fire. You got to place it. It's got armor, all that shit. So it's hard. It's hard to do with the demo charge. Flamethrower, you got essentially a base 8, 9 if you CE, so pretty simple. But some of the other anti-tank weapons can kill better than a flamethrower, right? I mean, if you've got a bazooka versus say like the Japanese tank, that's a 16. You got to roll 16. The flamethrower still has to roll an 8. Flamethrower kills the little Japanese tank is the same as it kills the Tiger. An 8. The bazooka probably can't affect the Tiger in the front for very most likely. I mean, it's very ineffective. It will just blow that Japanese tank to smithereens. So very different weapons. And you'll see a lot of bazookas, some Panzerschrecks. I'm sure you're familiar with ATRs already. So very effective weapons. What can we use ATRs for, gentlemen, if there are no vehicles in the game?
Attack infantry.
And what else? If you're a 6+1 leader. Interdict. You can interdict at a range of 12 with your 6+1 leader because only a single man counter needs to use it. Oh, yes. Good that I mentioned single man counters. Usage of the bazooka. Multi-man counters or 2 single man counters can fire a bazooka. 2 single man counters can fire a Panzerschreck. I think the Piat is 1 single man counter. I'm not sure. That's how often I use them. 1 single man counter may fire a flamethrower. 1 single man counter may throw a demo charge. 1 single man counter may fire a Panzerfaust. But the bazooka and the Panzerschreck, maybe the Piat. I don't know. Maybe the Piat as well.
The Piat, you only need 1. Yeah, 1.
Okay, 1's good. So bazooka, Panzerschreck, you need 2 single man counters to fire that.
Yep.
Otherwise, you can't fire it. Okay. And we won't go into heroes, but ATRs, single man counter, fine. 12 hex range, 1-2 or interdiction. 1-2 or interdiction. 12 hex is a long way. That's a full board. That's a long way. So don't discount the ATR shit firepower and your 6.
That's 6+1. Yeah, because the 6+1 doesn't apply his leadership modifier if he is firing solo.
If he's firing their weapons, right? So 12 hexes, no one's going to fire at him.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, that's an interesting.
And he could try to interdict some guys. Although other than cutting route pass, he can also interdict with the ATR. You know, if you're looking to get a bunch of Panzer 3s or Panzer 4s like the 6.3, you're probably not going to kill it. You might be better off using the ATRs as interdicting probability and 1-2 shots in the open.
Mm-hmm.
So things like that. So that's all I have, gentlemen. Again, if you have any other questions, no big deal. We can cover those. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, we forgot the machine guns too. Machine guns are also effective versus early armor. Very effective. But why are they more effective? Rate of fire. They're the rate of fire to kill. The other things don't have rate of fire at all. The machine guns all have rate of fire. Like we said.
But if a single man counters using the machine gun, that's area fire, right? So
correct.
So it by himself cannot fire at a tank.
He cannot fire to kill on a tank, but he may fire the machine gun on the CE crew.
CE crew, right? But he can't. But 2 leaders combined could fire.
Correct.
Fire.
Yeah, good distinction. It's in little details, but that's a lot of anti-tank weapons. That little corner on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
And then just throw your infantry. I think everyone's familiar with the infantry. Like I said, the reason why I threw the pre-AFV task check in there is that pretty much when you pass it, you have to go. You can't wait for the other guys. It's about the only other little detail I want to throw in the pre-AFV task check on that one there. Lots of little things here. Have fun with the scenario. And I think it's a decent scenario from what the couple guys I've witnessed. I've never played it, but it looks like it's a good hard fight, regardless of the German or the Allies. So that's all I got, gentlemen. Thank you for showing up. Good. I hope I didn't confuse you too much. There's a lot to it.
Yeah, it's a big section. Yeah,
there's a lot to it. But
this is a great section. Probably one of my favorites.
Oh, thanks. I knew you like it, John. I really want. It's like, what am I going to do this week? It's like, John. Let's try and round John out and try and get some anti-infantry support weapon killing tanks instead of tank versus tank. Because if you could use your infantry effectively, again, like we covered last week, close combat value of a squad is 5. Some of these weapons won't kill in a 5. Some of our armor can't kill in a 5. So don't discount your infantry. A lot of people discount their infantry. They don't know that they could charge tanks. So, and it's like, hey, why don't I go over at least some of the stuff of how to kill shit with what you have in the game. Demo charges are very hard, kind of confusing. You know, I mean, as you guys witnessed, I mean, I was kind of bumbling with the rules in the demo charge. I don't know what the hell. I don't use the damn things against tanks. So, I mean, I'm not familiar. I have to read up on how to use the demo charge placement. I couldn't even find the chart on the SK thing. I couldn't find the chart. You know, I never use it. But what's our friend? AFV destruction table. So that's our best friend. AFV destruction table. You know, that tells us how our weapons can affect other things. Equal to kill on one thing, maybe immobilize a shock. Equal to kill on something else, stun, eliminate. You know, as long as you're comfortable in looking on that chart. I didn't know what all those values were. I have to look at the chart all the time. Just look at the chart. It's right there. That's why it's a chart. If you don't know if I roll my flamethrower, I just roll the dice. Oh, it's equal to kill. What happens then? Oh, you look at the chart. Boom, it'll tell you. So the charts are not our enemies; they're our friends. It demystifies the rules, throws it in one little section. You know, DC placement, throws in a little chart. Just use the modifiers. If it's not there, forget it. If it's written somewhere in some rules, forget it. It's not on the chart, forget it. Like we did, right, with the motion. That was a great thing that was brought up. You know, you motion, and do we roll +3 for building? Well, no, because we're not entering the building, right? Unless it states otherwise. You know, in the vehicle covered arc change, you just roll for bog. Well, that's an 11 or 12 for most vehicles. Who cares? Swivel all you want. Swivel all you want. So that's something that I learned today. Is I would just assume that it would be a +3 until I have to look at the chart. It's like, oh, hey, you know, that's kind of useful. But if you know the information beforehand, then you could prep for it. And again, if you're in a building, you get +2 TEM against the Tiger. And if he pulls up to you, goes point blank, you can go in motion and go out the other side. And he can't fire on you. And so you're safe versus the Tiger. You could actually just run away from the Tiger. So a nice trick to pull. I actually haven't done it. I'm going to have to add that to my repertoire. Against hard tanks that destroy. You'd be better off in a terrain feature that he can't see through. That if you go into motion, you're gone safely. You're gone safely because that's what you want. You're gone. And I'm going to have to add that. That's going to be great. That's going to be great. My opponent's going to be pissed. So anyway, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you guys showing up. And
until you really roll snake eyes and blast your rear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, bounding fire up the ass. But I learned a lot. It's good to go refresher on this. I had 20 minutes to kind of read over some of these sections, and again, you know, finding the Nationality was a bitch. It wasn't in the vehicle section, which I tell you guys look for. It's in close. I don't even know where the hell it is. It still took me 5 minutes, and I found it before. So
yeah, it's split between the close combat and the armor rolls.
Yeah. It's I'm another disappointment, but as long as we could find it and we know it, we highlight it, we tab it, we can find it again next time. And that's a good distinction. And I didn't know that it didn't add TEM, so that's another good thing. If your vehicle's in buildings, don't matter. Drive in there, blow them up. Boom. You know, 16s, everything's blowing up. Everything's blowing. I want to see you guys. If you guys, I'll give like $10 to the first person that uses a Nationality against a vehicle in a building. So. I want to see that. I want to see that 16 roll snake eyes and just see the whole stack just be gone. I concede.
I'll let you, but do remember the minus to that is one infantry squad gets to attack first.
That's okay. He's a coward.
So, he rolled a 4. You know, you're gonna be rather upset.
Hey, it's all right. Hey, not if he's using Markbot 3.0.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's what.
To kill. There we go. There.
Oh, make sure you're
Yeah. Yeah. Now Markbot 3.03 is working good because we saw those rules in the beginning days.
Oh yeah, that was pretty impressive. Yeah,
that's a nice one.
Yeah,
that's a nice one. So, all right, thank you, gentlemen, and we will catch you next week.
Good night, everyone.
Take care.
Thanks. Good night, everyone.
All right, you have just graduated the How Do I Kick Your Tank's Ass Academy at ASL Tactical Tuesday. So go back, read those sections of rules, demo charges, Panzer Shreks, bazookas, Panzerfaust. It's like 2 pages, 1 or 2 pages in your rulebook. All of those devices act slightly differently versus enemy vehicles. And machine guns as well, the hidden AFV killer, mortars, the hidden AFV killer. All those weapons, which are very common in almost every single game, can take out even the heaviest tanks. So take a look at those. Don't disrespect your infantry. They could take out tanks just as easily. And heck, if the tanks can fire at them, and if they break, they can come back later and kill them again. All right? So just a couple pages in your rule book, but are very important. And just to reiterate, motion status. Read your motion status and how to apply it during your game. Very important motion status and going in motion, swiveling your tank so you could present a more defensible front to your enemy, especially if there's only one target that you have to worry about. Understand those concepts and you'll be well on your way in doing very well in your armor games in any ASL aspect, whether it be starter kit or full ASL. So a couple of those things like that and you'll be fine. Thanks for joining us on Tactical Tuesday, and hopefully your gaming will be nice and fun, and MarkBot 3.02 is your friend.